22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not There we go. There we go. Almost messed it up before I even got started. Welcome, 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 welcome. You are tuned in to the Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. I am your host, AJ Rock. We got a special show today. We will be talking about the Locks Dipset versus battle. And Lorraine, Bob, and I also had the opportunity to go to the park on Friday to see the city of Yonkers award Styles P and the Locks the key to the city. Before we get started, we caught up to Styles P real quick for a quick word. I'm gonna play that real quick. Whenever you're ready.
Black Westchester was good. Styles P the Ghost, LOX D-Block, Juices for Life, Pharmacy for Life. Today we are at the Fine Park on Nepperhan Avenue. Another workout station put up in the inner city of Yonkers. This will be the third one on Buena Vista, one on Water Tower by Elm Street. Now this one, we out here today though to bring awareness to the work that has been done, but to also bring more awareness to the work that needs to be done. Now we need to do the Glen, Trevor, Serrato, to fix up the inner city of Yonkers and give the youth somewhere to play, something to do, somewhere to exercise, get that energy off, build that health up. Yonkers is a beautiful city. We just want to make it more beautiful and give these kids the ultimate chance to have the best, brightest future they possibly can have.
Why is it important to bring awareness of health and wellness to the hood? Like something that normally don't happen.
The importance of bringing awareness about health to the hood is because that's our survival. What we put in our body is the main thing. It's going to give us some longevity. You got to take care of that body, and it's important, especially in the hood, because we got to worry about the kids coming behind us. So.
And lastly, I just want to say y'all killed it the other night, dude. Killed it.
Thank you. Love is love.
All right. So that was a quick word with Styles before he was given the key to the city Friday. And I have, of course, with me, Damon K. Jones, my partner, is not here, but I do have the man with the plan, Dr. Bob, in the place to be. Say what's up to the people.
What up, what up, what up, everybody?
And as a special guest host, the original co-host of the People Before Politics radio show, We got Cindy Cynthia Turnquest-Jones in the
What's up?
house,
What's up, party people? What's
who
going
is a
on?
bona fide hip hop head of her own that people don't know, that used to spit and all that people don't know. Yo, yo, word up.
You guys see
Yep.
AJ, me and AJ inbox me. Woo!
Yeah. Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely. And also, I have a bunch of special guests. I invited a bunch of people. All may not have might be accepted my invitation. Several will be. So throughout the show, there may be several guests. One of the first ones is tuning in right now. So we get a couple of words from her when she gets a camera and everything set. But Bob, you was with me at the he got his 914 shirt on.
Yeah, there you go. You know what the deal is, baby.
Yeah. I had to pull out the for hip hop purposes, the JVC Force joint. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So for hip hop purposes, so tell me what you saw Friday, that whole experience. What was that about?
I mean, it was a thrilling display of verbal virtuosity on the part of the Locks, for sure.
Oh, for verses, yeah.
Absolutely, gave everyone a good show. So I just enjoyed it. I was here trying to get some work done, but I found myself distracted. So I just enjoyed it, to be honest.
That was a good distraction, though.
Absolutely.
All distractions ain't good distractions. But Friday at the park, talk about that. The key to the city. That you was there for that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that beyond what the Locks did on stage, the awarding of the key to the city really is a testament to the larger role that they play in the community of Yonkers. And I really think that they do provide a model that so few have emulated, who have enjoyed the level of success that they have within the hip hop community as to how to give back. And philanthropic giving is so important if we're going to, address all the real problems that we know that we have in the hood. And there are a few people who are better positioned to do that than those who have, gotten rich off the culture, and there is an ethic of mutual responsibility and obligation. And I really got to say that, I've always been impressed by Styles, because, it's been very obvious to me as I've watched his career out off the stage that this is a conscious brother, Styles especially. I mean, it's just, he's part of the team, but he's really in the lead. But trying to provide social giving for our communities. And in that sense, I think he provides a model to us all, especially
no doubt. It was great. Shout out to Tri-State Jericho. He was on the ones and the twos. Shout out to Brother John. He was there. I got a couple of words from the Congressman, Jamal Bowman, who may or may not be tuning in a little bit later. And it was just like when I had the two of them together and they said words about each other, you know what I'm saying? I caught it on camera, and he was like, when I caught the versus battle, and Styles was like, that's right, we got a congressman that watches versus. Yonkers is kind of different. It was dope. Like, you got a congressman who, and a lot of people don't know, I had the opportunity, me and Damon, especially me, talking to Jamal a lot before he got elected. Jamal Bowman is a bona fide hip hop head. He's not one of them dudes just tuning in every now and then. Like, his knowledge, I tested him on his knowledge of hip hop. Like, he passed the test. That's what I'm saying. So he's a bona fide hip hop head. And every chance I get to, I always tell him, here's a question that MSNBC will never ask you. And then I give him some hip hop stuff.
Unless he goes on Ari, of course.
Unless he goes on Ari. Yeah, Ari might have him, do a hip hop reference or something, which I love to see. Word up. Yo, actually, our first guest, she's gonna come in real quick and speak, is City Councilwoman Shanae Williams. Now, this is her district where the park was, and she said from the podium that day, one of the first things that when she got in office, Styles P approached her, and one of the first things they talked about was the need to do this in parks and refurbish these parks and put exercise stuff in, and this was making it happen. And I want her to give a couple of words about that and welcome her to the show. Yonkers City Councilwoman Shanae Williams. But before you go, I just want to say I've said it to you publicly. I've said it to Tasha Young as well. You two ladies shook up the establishment. You scared the hell out the establishment. Yo, you specifically, you went against an incumbent and got 49% of the vote. You understand what I'm saying? You scared the hell out of the establishment. You know what I mean? And he's probably going to start doing some stuff that he wasn't doing because you was bringing up some issues that he wasn't touching upon. Let's see. But I definitely look forward to see where you go from here. And the same thing, I've had this conversation with Tasha. Yo, y'all did your thing in this election. Even in a loss, y'all were amazing. And I just want to say that publicly on the air, though.
Thank you so much, AJ. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Hello. Good evening, everyone.
So I saw you spoke at the event, and I know that you said, yo, it was hot out there. My camera, my phone overheated twice. One of the times it overheated is when you were speaking, so I couldn't really play your video. So I got you here to say, what you said and about, how he approached you and your work with the parks and these parks in your district and stuff.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a really hot day, really humid. I don't think anyone really expected it to feel so hot. But it was such a good event. I'm so happy that we were able to get that together. The Stefanik Park, like many of the parks in the first council district, is extremely just in desperate need of reparation, just repairment.
Renovation.
Renovation. We need to fix the parks. When I said earlier at the park that one of the first meetings I had with Styles was about the parks, and he was so passionate. Let me tell you, you guys already know. I don't need to tell you, but he came in the office. He sat down with me and with a couple of my other colleagues, and he, before I even get into that story, I want to kind of mention to you guys so you know how real passion matters for this person. When I was working in the mayor's office, before I became a council person, I scheduled a meeting with the mayor and Styles P. And years ago, he was talking about this with the mayor's office, talking about fixing these parks, talking about bringing an outdoor gym equipment to the parks for the adults, to help get the kids off the street and give them something to do and be active and be healthy. He was talking about that back then. So years later, to have the opportunity to sit down with him as a council person and actually really hear him out and have the opportunity to be at the table to work with him and to work with the mayor's office and the parks department to make this happen was something very special to see in reality come through for me. You know what I mean? Because we share that passion about fixing up our parks. We share that passion about making sure that getting access to, just healthy options in life. And that includes being physically healthy, right? It's just so important for our community. So I was really proud to see that moment happen. And I'm really grateful that he never gave up. Years later, he kept saying the same things and pushing and working behind the scenes to make this happen. So he really, truly deserved every bit of honor that he received that day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's been a hell of a week. I mean, after the versus thing, which we're going to get heavily into that. But I just wanted to show everybody, while it's more than that it's more than hip hop with Styles. And I wanted to talk about his community involvement and all that as well, because that's one of the things that's getting lost in the story, so I wanted to make sure we brought enough of that up. As we salute him for his lyrical acumen as well. You know what I'm saying? So word.
Right.
Any other words you want to share about Styles or verses or anything? Oh, go ahead, Cynthia.
So I just want to say that, looking at parks is very, very important. A lot of individuals just pass by a playground and just be like, that's just a playground. But individuals need to really understand that if you hear the dogs in the back, that I have no control. They going for what they want to go for. But I had the opportunity of riding around in Mount Vernon in particular, and during our ride, we only looked at parks. And then after we finished looking at the parks, I went back and started doing my own look. I started sitting back and just thinking about, if I was a little girl and I came to this park, where would this park take my imagination to? Would this park lend to me having any kind of conversation? Would this park also lend to me making a friend, right? And so there's a lot of, if you, after today, walk around or ride around and look at the parks in certain neighborhoods, and then look at the parks in other neighborhoods, and you will see a major difference. You will see that there are some parks that are there just to say that they have a park there. And then you will see some other parks that are there to serve a purpose. And so individuals may look at a park of just being just a park, but I'm glad that Shanae partnered up with Styles P, who is very much interested in the parks in Yonkers being of substance. So parks do have to be of substance as well. So thank you for that, Shanae.
Right. And thank you. And you make a very good point in the comparison between the parks in a lot of our neighborhoods where there are Black and brown people versus wealthier, more affluent communities where there's not so many Black folks, right? There is a difference. And I've noticed it my whole life just because of the experiences that I've had living in different parts of Westchester. So I think that's a very valuable thing to look at, and I agree with you, but we're going to get the work done here in Yonkers. I'm really excited about that. A lot of the parks that Styles mentioned in his speech that he's throwing names out there saying we need to fix this park and that park. The majority of those were in my district because that's where the majority of the need is. And I'm really excited to just continue to work with my colleagues on the council and my partners in government and community members, especially, to make this happen.
Absolutely. We're gonna move on to
But when I come back,
Okay.
I want
Go ahead.
AJ.
Go ahead.
I'm sure AJ give me the information. Shanae, there's something that I want to put in that park. So when I come back, I'm in Central America right now. So when I come back,
Okay.
I'm gonna link up with you so we can just make
Absolutely,
that park
please.
Park of all parks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, AJ. Thanks, Dr. Bobs. Good seeing you guys.
No doubt. Any last words about Styles, about Versus, about the key to the city, about anything dealing with that?
Versus was lit. I didn't watch it the night of. I was out doing other things, but I certainly did watch it after. And boy, I sat there and there were parts that I just had to keep going back to because it was so good, So I'm really glad that Yonkers, that the whole blocks, Jadakiss really held it down. All of them. It was a moment of true pride. I felt like I was watching the Olympics all over again, right?
That's what's up.
It was a really good thing to see Yonkers shine like that. And I think it's about time that a lot, the world really got to see what Yonkers people, what our talent is about, what our community is about. And I think the Locks represented that very well, and I'm so proud and honored. And seeing Styles accept the key to the city from the mayor was a real special moment because they deserve it. It's
Absolutely.
a long time coming.
Absolutely. Thank you. I hit you last minute. As always, you made time, and we greatly appreciate you. The best, and Black Westchester rides with you, whatever you're doing. So,
thank you, guys. Have a good one. I'll keep tuning in through Facebook.
All right, no doubt. Yeah, I wanted to show more of the community side. Like that's the side we don't see. We're gonna talk about the lyricism. We're gonna talk about the Listen. This was an all-out. You know what? I'm just gonna let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I'm just gonna
Hey yo, AJ.
Yo.
I must have watched Versus 10 times already. My girl in the back, she teasing me. She be teasing me. She said you watch Versus at the breakfast table. You've been watching Versus down at the pool. Yeah. I need to make sure that I live that history.
Right. I'm just gonna the paper comes out Tuesday, but the story, the Locks slaughtered Dipset in highly anticipated Versus battle. And I'm just gonna as an intro to the show, I'm just gonna read the opening. The Locks and Dipset went head to head in a highly anticipated Versus battle at the Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden Tuesday, August 3rd. It was a no-nonsense New York hip-hop fight. While no one got killed like previous confrontations, the lyrical assassination committed with malice afterthought by the Locks should be against the law. Someone needs to call Westchester County District Attorney Mimi Roker to charge the Yonkers trio with premeditated murder by microphone, voluntary microphone manslaughter in the first degree, and assault with a deadly microphone. It wasn't merely a slaughter, it was a lyrical summary execution. This was a lesson on lyricism 101. The Rough Rider rap titans put on a master class in hip hop. They entered the stage with the intent to inflict serious harm and cause Dipset's defeat. While it appeared Dipset came out thinking their reputation and home court advantage guaranteed victory before they even stepped on the stage, it was clear the Locks understood the assignment, came out prepared for battle, letting the rest of the rap world know it is not a game. That is the intro. And then I go in and talk about the battle and all that and everything. Like, dude, this was for my hip hop heads, and especially for those that don't go back that far. This was maybe as great of a onslaught as the Kumo D Busy Bee battle in the early 80s. This was as great of an onslaught. This had reminiscent of when Sprite recreated the KRS Shan battle at Madison Square Garden. In both situations, Busy Bee and Shan came out, just happy to be out there, came out there like, yo, we this, we that. And on the other side, Kumo D and KRS, they came in there for complete annihilation. Dipset came in there on some, we Dipset, all the cool stuff, leather suits and all kinds of stuff, and sitting in lounge beach chairs and all kinds of stuff, jewels all over the place. Styles P didn't have a piece of jewelry around his neck. And and just had like a regular outfit on, and they just committed, they committed lyrical, it was a lyrical lynching, like literally, like this was not just, we talk a lot about a lot of Yonkers people. We got my man Dennis Richmond, who's going to come on a little later. He kind of went through Yonkers. He's from Yonkers and got reactions from people in Yonkers. We're going to have him talk about that. This wasn't just big for Yonkers. This wasn't just big for the 914 in Westchester. This was big for New York, and this was big for hip hop. And before I go further, also shout to Jadakiss, who will now be the first in history to have won in 2 versus battles. He's the only person. He's the only person actually to be in 2 versus battles. That's history right there. And he's the only person to have won 2 versus battles. He beat Fabulous in June last year as a solo artist, and then you saw what happened on Tuesday night.
You know what the Locks represented and Dipset. It's a prime example of, say there's a position that is posted at your job, and you feel as though that you should get it just because. And so you go to the interview and you don't really prepare, you don't even buy maybe the flyest suit to wear. You just come in there and go for the interview. But then somebody else who's also in there, but they're hungry, a different kind of hungry, walk up into the spot, clean, crisp, fresh, dressed like $1 million, put on their shoes and their fly green socks, and they have their resume ready. They have copies for everyone. They know the background of the business, and they are there to get the job. And so that was one of the things that I noticed between the Locks and Dipset, right? Well-known rappers, and there's a difference between a rapper
and an MC.
Right, so that has to be understood. But what I liked about it was the fact that they were able to show individuals who do not know, like forcing individuals to go back into the history of MCing, right? The history of it. And that these nursery rhymes, but I've heard nursery rhymes better than what some of these individuals be.
Some of these artists, they owe royalties to Mother Goose and Dr. Seuss, like for real,
They couldn't even rock with Dr. Seuss because Dr. Seuss is a billionaire right now, and he's dead. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I thought it was great for the culture. I know it's great for the culture, but for New York in particular, oh.
Absolutely. One of the other things I wanted to address too, like we saw what looked like skirmishes on the stage with Jewels pushing his way through and Jada taking off the bandana and Styles trying to get Cam up and Cam ain't know what's going on. So he kicked that, like it could have got a little rocky. But what people don't understand, they met beforehand. And it's like, yo, we're going to get gritty. So what level of gritty? And they did, and Cam and Styles did a live the other day. What level of gritty? He said 50%. So Styles was like, all right, as long as nobody don't, I think he said French dare me or something like that, or punch me in my face, we good. You know what I'm saying? Like they had lines drawn like, these are things that's unforgivable. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so they went at it. But I like how even when all the trash talking and all of that, yo, Jada took it to the stage with the microphone. Like, yo, forget all that trash talking. He did his talking. He let his rhymes do his talking. He let his mic do his talking. And he annihilated them. And I mean, from an MC, and hopefully I invited a couple of cats as MCs. I'm hoping one or two of them click on. But as an MC, like, yo, Cam said when they were there, he said, yo, they two of them been friends for 25 years. They good. They brothers. They love each other. Their whole nine. They respect each other. But yo, Michael Jordan used to be cool with Charles Barkley and all them. Those are his boys until they got on the court. Every time he got on the court, Charles Barkley, when them was not his friends, he was going to annihilate them. And that's what the locks came in for. Like, it was not a game. And that's what hip hop, those are the true essence of hip hop. Like Styles said, he said, yo, I get mad if Jada or Sheik have a better verse than me. So I'm not going to let them cats come off better than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said they compete within the group like that. That's what hip-hop is about. And they're going on a 30-city tour starting next month. I think they're also adding state property from Philly. You know what I'm saying? So I say this for whoever's watching live and whoever might watch this later, because I think more people are going to end up watching this later when they find out what was going on. Because we put this show together like literally last minute. Yo, don't promoters, don't get scared. They're not gonna mess up their bag. They have no intentions of fighting. They just want to give a good show. And you got two street groups that represent the streets, performing on the highest stage. You know what I'm saying? And they gave the people, especially the lots, they gave the people.
And then like the level of love. Right.
Yes.
See, if individuals understand what love is instead of what hate is, if they understood what love is, they would have been able to actually see it, right? And then what I liked was how it was something that Dr. Bob spoke about, was how the next day Styles was like, "Yo, Cam, I got some shirts for you. I got some jogging suits for you." But you don't need no shirts and jogging suits. What you need is some sea moss, man, because you were saying some craziness last night, and this is where you need to order from. And then I went on their website and they sold out of their merchandise because of Versus, and I'm sure that after Versus also that they sold out. But at the same time, I went on their website. I went on Styles' website. I follow them all the time because I love the conversation about clean and healthy eating.
Right.
And I brought me 2 packs off the cuff. So when I get back home, I'm going to start the regimen and things of that nature. And so that's what I love, the love part of it. He told somebody on stage, he was like, yo, you need some ginseng, or he said sea moss. He told him something he needed on stage. I thought it was just so much love. And like what Dr. Bob said is like what he's doing for the community health wise. He knows that the community of Yonkers needs to be healthy, because that health lends to other things. It lends to how your mind is when it's time for you to read. It also lends to on how you spend money.
Mm-hmm. Health is wealth, as Jamal said, and Styles said several times during Friday. Health is wealth. Yo, I want to applaud also, like you said, during the thing with Cam, the live with Cam and Styles, it looked like Styles had gave him a little something from the juice bar. He had a little he was, and Cam was drinking it. He was like, he gave him something from the juice bar because they was talking about the juice bar, like, you know, like yeah, this is what you need. You know what I'm saying?
And what's his name talked about it? Fat Joe. Like, yeah, listen, I'm a hip hop head. I'm a hip hop head, reggae head, country music. Y'all want to talk? We could talk, right? But Fat Joe spoke about it. Fat Joe said, "Yo, you gotta understand." Said Styles is a vegetarian. Jadakiss wasn't drunk. You know, he was talking about on their delivery and why their delivery was as such, right? And the things that we should look at. And I thought that conversation that Fat Joe had, if anyone wants to watch it on IG, the conversation that Fat Joe had. And if you look at Fat Joe and his journey of eating clean and getting slim, same thing with Rick Ross, the boss. Those individuals have, like, you could tell, like, the evolution of them came along with the clean eating and the shedding of the weight and things of that nature.
Yo, shout out to Fat Joe, because I remember back when he first lost the weight, he was like, yo, when the doctor tells you you got to do these things or you're going to die if you want to live, you either do them. If you want to live, you do them. And that's what it was for him. And that was his awakening. You know what I'm saying? And he's changed. You see his you see the whole change in him. And it was funny because Big Pun and Biggie was joking with him, like, they gonna have to kick him out the crew because he was losing too much weight. You know, he wasn't with the big boys no more. He was gonna kick him out the crew. But then look at Pun. I mean, just before he died, he lost 100 pounds. Like, he talks about that in that song, that last song. I just lost 100 pounds. I'm trying to live. It was kind of hard to hear that after he died because, you know, he was really doing everything he could to live. Like, I mean, I've had to make certain changes. I'm not all the way there, but I'm working on it. And I'm a lot better than I was, but I got a long way to go. But, you know, I got people like Brenda and Cynthia and Damon and Bob and several other people staying on me like, yo, what you doing, man? You drinking enough water? What you doing? What you doing? Put the soda there. What you doing? What you doing? You know. So, but you need that.
AJ don't ask me to drop them off to get no soda no more. No more.
You'll take me around the corner so I can get a soda. Yeah, take me around the corner so I can.
There's a spot in Pelham where we went in there the other night. Remember, AJ?
Yeah.
And got some salads and you know, I mean, like, you know, you gotta, if you another thing that Styles has spoke about the other day was us checking in on each other and asking each other how we're doing, right? And so that you know, how you doing, and but us also having the courage of sharing of how we are doing. Like, you know, I find it hard to tell somebody that I'm messed up in the head, right? I just get really quiet and sit in the cut. But he said that you have to have the type of friends that understand when you say, you know, I'm a little messed up in the head right now, right? Or my health isn't, you know, well, my health is poor. And it's very important for us to start doing that and you know, and talk to each other and check up on each other in the aspect of health being well.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, I thank you, Sin, Bob, Damon, Brenda, and there's several other people, Caitlin Gleason, all people that, I mean, there's so many others, you know, and I've had to have those conversations with y'all. Like, I wasn't about that. Like, you kept everything you was taught, you know, you grew up to keep everything you're going through to yourself. And then, you know, especially in the climate we live in, people, like, even if they cool with you today, they weaponize shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't be wanting to share nothing with nobody. You know what I'm saying? But I've had those conversations with you in the car. I've had those conversations with Damon. Bob knows Bob's with me almost every other day. You know what I'm saying? So I've had those conversations. And you yourself have to be willing to have, like, I have people checking on me, yo, you look good, how you doing? You know, you staying? And I'd be like, yo, I'm trying to. Like, there's no need to lie and say, yo, I'm doing everything right if I'm not doing everything right. Like, there's no need to even lie about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm working on it, though. You know what I'm saying? But you got to keep it real with yourself even. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's a lot more I need to do. So, but enough of that, though. But that was an important aspect of Styles' life. So, you know, talking about the health and wellness. And if Damon was here, like, the whole rest of the show would just be about that. You know, shout to Damon and the whole plant-based life. And he got a book coming out. And we're going to have shows about that and another. But this is about, yo, the lyrical
shout out to DK.
Right. The lyrical onslaught that took place on Tuesday Yo, there were so many elements of this. There was so.
I gotta say, before you get into it, I just want to tell y'all that I like Cameron because Cameron is entertaining, but Cameron is not an MC. Cameron's never been an MC.
The most lyrical one probably was Jules Santana. Was probably the most lyrical of those cats.
Right. He's not an MC. He's a rapper.
Yeah.
And he so let me explain this also. We could have this conversation too, AJ. Is that to put the pen to the paper is a very interesting thing. I watched DMX put the pen to the paper. And a lot of times he have to go in the booth with the paper. And that's okay. Right?
I used to have to do that too.
Me too. If I go in the booth, I have to go in the booth with the paper. Right? I am not the one to stand up there like Jadakiss off the cuff and rip out just out the gate ripping. Right? It takes a certain kind of talent, a certain kind of person that'd be able to do that. But Cameron, even when he put it down on paper, like if somebody was in the back every now and again saying, man, can you please take out the Wizard of Oz, that lions, tigers, and bears, you remember that?
Word. See, this is why Cynthia and David ain't on the show no more together.
He was in basement at BT. Oh, in BT used to have that basement?
Yes. Big Tig.
He used to go in the booth.
Yeah, Big Tigger.
He went in there and he did that, and I was like, that don't sound good. He was some lions and tigers and bears, and Tigger blew him out. I think they had an argument about that because Tigger was like, man, he's a fake rapper. But you know,
Tigger had skills too. Tigger was nicer than some of the artists that came in. Some of the big artists that had big records and came in hit their booth. Tigger was nicer than a lot of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's an MC? Naz, who played basketball. Nesta, who plays basketball.
Okay.
In Mount Vernon.
Yes.
The coach. Oh,
yes.
she was rapping at her wedding.
Bob, we was at We was at Maggie's or somewhere.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh my God.
They was playing like Lauryn Hill thing, and then it was supposed to be like karaoke. It was supposed to be like karaoke. So she started off with Lauryn Hill, and it was Lauryn Hill music, and went into a freestyle and killed it.
Straight off the dome.
And killed it. I remember that. Shout to Nesta. Yeah. I didn't know Nesta.
Shout out to Nesta. I was bugging when she did. I was like, what?
We didn't know Nesta had bars. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know Nesta had bars.
Ain't no lie. That ain't no lie right there.
Nesta was MCing at her wedding.
Yeah, I missed that. I had to get the paper out. I was supposed to go. I missed that. Congratulations, Nesta. I was there with you in spirit. I was invited. I could not get there. And it was out of state somewhere. I just couldn't get there. I couldn't get there.
Yeah, I didn't go either because I was leaving.
Yeah.
I just want to chime in for a minute because that gives me a reminder to extend a congratulations to one of Mount Vernon's senior figures from the hip hop community, Jay Collins, married Kenyatta Thomas. They got married over this weekend. As many of y'all know, Jay and his brother Mark Collins are really part of the original forefathers of hip hop here in the city of Mount Vernon. And so I just really wanted to take time out to wish congratulations.
Yes. Big them up. Yo, congratulations. And shout out to the Collins brothers.
What happened to that? What happened to the noise? Yo, Bob, you were supposed to like ring a bell or something.
Okay.
We not in the studio no more. I ain't got the sound effects. I'm like, it's like I gotta clap like this now. Like, dude, it's like, COVID didn't hurt us. And shout out to Cruz. Shout out to Cruz.
I
don't know if Cruz.
I grew up with Kenyatta, so shout out to Kenyatta and Jay.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Bob said, he's one of the founders of hip hop in Money Earning Mount Vernon. I thought you was gonna give a shout out to the cat that's been running all over the place in the Olympics, been killing it.
Rob
and
Benjamin,
winning gold
Raj
medals.
Benjamin. Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna do a
Yes.
whole nother show, just giving him his flowers. In the paper, there's a big thing on him in the paper. It's coming out Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? I want to see. Yo, first off, let me just say, and I'm gonna get back to the topic. Yo, when you break a record, like he's 24 years old. I think this record is 4 years older than he is. He broke this record and came in second by 0.11 seconds. 0.11 seconds, he came in second. Like somebody ran 0.11. He broke the record and someone ran 0.11 seconds, like 0.11. Like that's like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the but yo, I applaud him. He's doing his thing. We're gonna give him his flowers. We definitely gonna give him his flowers. So we got something on him in the paper. I'm sure everybody's trying to get at him. Maybe we'll get a family member or something. You know, we'll work on that. We're working on that. But we definitely want to give him his flowers. And I've showed him a lot of love on the social media though. But
so back to the lyrics.
But lyric. Yo,
I want to say something.
Go ahead, Bob.
What's up?
I'm sorry. I think one thing that we have to remember about their performance is that in some respects, this represents a return to live performance. And for most of us who grew up in the early days of hip hop, it wasn't about your radio play or your records that you had. It was actually being able to move the crowd in person. When I was about 12, 13 in the city of Mount Vernon, hip hop originally was about live parties. People just went to parties, and those parties had a way of promoting community in ways that have tended to decline as hip hop has gone from live performance art to studio performance art, and now video on performance. So I think that's something important for us to remember, especially because I claim no real expertise in hip hop or the music industry, but some of the stuff that I've read about the evolution of hip hop suggests that increasingly today, artists are going to have to, at least a certain segment of the artistic community is going to have to make its money off of live performances, as we've seen a decline in record sales. And so I think Jada and Sheik and Styles really did themselves a favor in kind of upping their the premium for seeing them do live performances, because they really gave the crowd a show. And there's two additional things that I think are worth mentioning to put it in a larger historical framework. In some respects, right, they were able to invoke the kind of call and response that's so central to Black oratorical tradition that we originally find in the preacher, and the back and forth that one has with the congregation, and they kind of did the same thing, right? And they got the crowd amped, and another way they got the crowd amped was it was a return to the playing the dozens, because I remember when we was young, right? Part of one had to be practicing the art of verbal combat. I'm sure all of us, I remember being in the high, and a lot of cats would play the dozens, and you had to really snap on one another, and you had to be prepared to defend yourself. I'm going to say I didn't necessarily excel at the dozens, but I really saw it elevated to an art form. And for me, this was one of the real masters of the dozens from my generation was Scotty G. Habs old barber, everyone knows Scotty G, serving as a barber here in Mount Vernon, and then now he's down in Atlanta doing the same thing. And you can find him on Facebook on Sundays DJing. But in that sense, we saw a combination of both of those art forms that have been such a mainstay of the Black community. And I think this is a reminder to all upcoming artists that, if you really want to, get your wins up, You really need to practice and study those things.
I want to say two things. First off, for those listening, I also want to be announce again. I'm gonna keep saying this. You know, we're streaming live on Facebook, and we stream live on our YouTube channel. But as of last week's show, we are now streaming on the Black Westchester LinkedIn channel as well. So like we have multiple formats where everybody can check us. That's why it's hard to you got to go to all the pages. People leave comments that I don't see because it's on 10 different Facebook pages. It's on LinkedIn. It's on YouTube, and everybody shares it on their pages. So sometimes if I don't get to your comment, be like, "Yo, you mentioned my comment," I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like Bob sometimes see comments I don't see, and he announces people that I don't announce. But I want to go on what you were saying. Yo, coming from the early days of hip hop, real talk. Yo, there's a couple of things. Yo, there was a time when, yo, you had to be able to rock a crowd before given the privilege of making a record. Like, if you couldn't rock a crowd, there was no making a record for you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's what we had. We was in the park. You had to entertain. All those things you talk about, Bob, you had to engage the crowd. You had the best MC. That's how they determine the crowd response, you know, and your wordplay and all that. You had to be able to do that. Like, yo, I had the privilege of, you know, everybody knows JVC. It's our 33-year anniversary. So we was on the road, and at the time, a couple of the members of Cold Crush, then KG went solo, Tone was with him, a couple of them. So we're on the road together. We in a hotel, and you know how you play basketball and you play what's it, the game you play? You take a shot, you got to take another shot, huh? Horse. We used to play that with lyrics. So I would say a rhyme, and he would have to say a rhyme. And if his rhyme didn't rhyme, hit mine, he got the H. So then the next person would say a line, the next person had to rhyme that line, and we would go in a circle, and you had to do it. Like, you had a certain amount of time. And, yo, those things is like you building up your skills. It's like, you know, but then sometimes you taking shots at the person that you saying a line at, you know, you taking shots. It was fun. That's what hip-hop is. That's what hip-hop was. Right now, you have a lot of people that make records that can't rock crowds. Like, seriously. Like, you can make a record, but you can't rock a crowd. And it's like, you know, those who can rock the crowd and everybody who can rock the crowd can't make a record. Like I know a lot of people, there's battle rappers and performance rappers that don't translate well into the studio. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they don't have the same energy and stuff. But it takes a rare individual who could rock that crowd, who could rock that mic, whether it's one person, 100 persons, 1,000 persons, or 100,000 persons, and they could go in the studio and bring that same energy and create songs over a dope beat that you rock to. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't do that, but we went away from the fundamentals. Also, like when I first got signed, yo, you had to sign to a major label for the world to hear you. Now you can just be in your basement, in your bedroom, and you got Pro Tools, and you can put something together and put it on the internet, and everybody can hear. Like, it's like a Pandora's box. You gotta scan through like you know, a plethora. There's that word, a plethora of bullshit to get to something good. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so saturated. We didn't have that before. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you had to sign to a major label so the world could hear you. And
so
now
what you're talking about is, you know how, because we had this discussion, you know, and I was like, what made Mariah Carey a diva, right? And they was like, it's because of the way that she acts. I said, well, it's not the way that she sings. See, I thought it was because of the way she sings, because I beg to differ that she can sing. I don't think that she can sing. But in the meantime, between time, you have in the hip hop culture, you have individuals who are maybe like one-hit wonders, right? But then you have individuals where, if you in regards to moving the crowd, right, and where you can quote some of the things that they have said, and they have said it long time ago, right? Standing on the bus stop, sucking on a
lollipop.
You know what I'm saying? Thinking of a master plan.
Yeah, ain't nothing but sweat inside my, yeah.
Lottie Dottie.
We like to party.
Lottie Dottie. Right? Right? Understand? So there's when that dude said, Reagan was the president, but I voted for Shirley Chisholm, right?
Rest in peace to my partner Biz. I really haven't had a lot publicly to say. You know, we knew each other in Long Island. He came up in the same area. We came up with in Long Island. You know, us, EPMD, Craig Mack, all of us in Long Island. You know, in that area, we all knew each other before making records. Most of us. I've seen that dude just Anyway, R.I.P. to my brother. Right, R.I.P. to my brother. R.I.P. R.I.P. to my brother.
Be able to tell a story, right? Lyrics and quotes that last for years and years and years and years and years. I'm not saying that those of today are not good. I'm saying that those of today are not of substance. I don't understand some of the things that they're saying. I 9 times out of 10 Google it, bring it up so I can hear what they're saying. But the story that they're telling, like, how is that story going to look 10 years from now?
I want to say one thing about that, though. Hip hop is now at a point that is multi-generational. Like, when we first got started, our parents wasn't listening to that. You know what I'm saying? Our parents didn't even think that was music. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, our older brothers was like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So it was like, but now you have generations of hip hop artists, like hip hop heads. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have generations, like you have parents, like my daughter knows all the music we used to listen to. My daughter still plays a lot of that music. You know what I'm saying? The way we used to play some stuff our moms used to listen to, like the Temptations and all that. Yeah, my daughter plays that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, but with every generation, like with our generation, our parents couldn't understand what they were talking about because it was talking to us. It was our own thing that we were doing. It represented us, and it spoke to us on a level. Our parents and even the R&B industry didn't even respect us. Like, we wasn't music. We wasn't real music to people that did R&B. You know what I'm saying? But so as the generations go by, we are no longer their audience. You understand what I'm saying? I don't feel or defend half of the stuff that's out there now, but they're not making the records with us in mind. And for them other people that's out there listening right now, they're making records for that generation, and that's what that generation wants to hear. And they're speaking to that generation in ways that, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, but I do hear what you're saying. Again, celebrate my 33-year anniversary. I am humbled when people tell me that they love a song that I recorded 34 years ago in a studio, and people are still playing it now when they don't want to hear from some of these artists that play stuff they did 5 and 6 weeks ago, or a month ago, six months ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm honored that, you know what I'm saying, people still show love. Like the reason it's still alive, it has nothing to do with us. It has to do with all those people that kept our music alive, that keep playing, especially overseas. But people like Jericho loves that record. And there's other people that just show that still play that joint. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm humbled that people even want to still hear things that I said back then. Like, it's crazy. I don't want to hear some of the stuff that people said last week. so, I'll be honest. But I want to get too far off the latch though. Like, I do want to give them their flowers. We talked about the health part. That's so powerful. They got the juice bar. We've documented that. And Black Westchester has been documenting that since we've been in existence. They're opening up, the history. They opened the one in the Bronx, and they opened the one in Yonkers. Then they licensed, I think, the one in Brooklyn. And the spreading that teaching people to be healthier. You know what I'm saying? And once your body and your mind is healthier, you make more healthier decisions and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I want to applaud them on that. These is dudes, Mayor Spano, I'm not going to play everybody. I got videos from everybody. But Mayor Spano said something that was very important the day when Friday. He was like, Yonkers has a lot of talent, but a lot of them leave and never come back. A lot of them don't even mention where they're from. He said, but not our guys here. He said they've been all over the world, the top of the world, and they always represent Yonkers. They always let you know you're from Yonkers. And like Jada said, I don't live in Miami. You can catch me on my block today. You know what I'm saying? And he said, I'll be in Harlem. You can find me. They in the streets. They building with the cats on the block. They using they misspent youth to educate the cats on the block. Don't do what we did. You know what I'm saying? There's other ways. Like Styles said, yo, I do have a clip with Styles when he spoke at the podium. He was like to the kids, nerd up. Yo, you don't gotta be a G. You don't gotta be a gangster because someone, yo, nerd up and get that education and get and do that. If that's what you want to do that and do it with pride. Don't let nobody shame you from that. Nerd up. He said, yo, I'd rather see you nerd up than see you dead or in jail, or you know what I'm saying? Nerd up and go to school. And we need more cats who live that life to speak like that. You know what I'm saying? So their community involvement, yo, I played another clip. I had a clip that ran, it went viral on our YouTube page. It was Styles P. He went to the city council. We can't get regular homeowners to go to city council meetings. He went to the city council and he was talking about new development and how much the rent was. And he was like, who the hell's going to live there? He was like, yo, I got 2 businesses and a rhyme career and I can barely stay there. You know what I'm saying? Like the average person can't afford to live there. What's going to happen with the people? And he was fighting for affordable housing. Like, dude, like these cats is involved. Like he says he's not political, but he doesn't realize how involved he is. And these are the stories that don't nobody talk about, like the Styles piece. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna ask Dr. Bob, like, you know, that the point that AJ just made about Styles going and speaking before the city council. What does it mean when they make the rent a certain amount of money so that the average individual cannot live there? What is that called?
Gentrification. Oh, I'm sorry, you weren't talking to me.
Right. I think it's the area, the AMI, the area median income, and right now the formula for determining area median income in New York State, if not across the United States, is the median income of the county. One of the problems with using a countywide measurement is that what it means is that for communities that fall on the lower end of the income spectrum, where people's annual incomes are comparatively low, it means that essentially we're getting priced out of the market. This has been an issue that has been a recurring theme in a lot of the discussions about housing policy in Yonkers and Westchester County. As a matter of fact, I think when we had Council Member Williams on, Shanae Williams?
Yes, Shanae.
Okay, I had to be sure. I think that was one of the issues that she spoke to. And so what's especially interesting, right? Because look, too often our hip hop artists who really make it promote a life of glitz and glamour that's really not attainable by the average person. You know, as you said, AJ, so many cats who made it go off, take they bread, they got big money, and they go off to more well-to-do neighborhoods where they leave behind many of the social problems.
But it's not only moving, but moving and not giving back. Like you got people like Denzel who's did well, moved on, but you know, contributes to the boys club, and he's done stuff for Mount Vernon, even though he doesn't physically live here. You have people that move, take their money, and they never look back at all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't fault somebody for wanting to move. You know what I'm saying? But yo, the people that don't look back, your best can't leave. When your best people leave and don't come back, it leaves a vacuum of people in your community. You know what I'm saying? So we could talk about that on another whole show. That's a whole other conversation that Cynthia brought up. Like we should have a show on that whole thing and how that breaks down and explain that and have some experts come through.
But that it's like you said, AJ and Dr. Bob, is the fact that this is I'm going to call him a star, right? So this is a hip hop star that is talking about something that individuals don't know how to articulate. That he is talking about something that other hip hop artists in that culture showcase, like as if everything is a glamour and a glitter, you know, and sending actually, like, you know, and with Styles saying, you know, nerd up, be that nerd, You know, that's sending a different message to our children, and letting them know that, you know, you can eat healthy and you can read a book and be a hip hop artist, but at the same time, can you be that in the community that you live in because of you not being able to make the money to live?
So I just want to applaud them. Their community-based work is what they don't get enough credit for. Jada does a lot of work. Sheeks is in the streets. You know, it's just like, but you don't, like, the cameras don't catch that. The mainstream media doesn't cover that. You know, those are not flashy stories. You know what I'm saying? If one of them got arrested, that'd be on everybody's media. You know, every forum will cover that. But I guess it's up to people like us, you know, to uplift those kind of things because, you know, yes, the News 12s and Low HUDs of the world, and not to call them out, but those are our local medias, will show up to something like Friday. You know what I'm saying? But will they be there, you know, next Friday when they're out doing some work in the community? Will they be out? You know what I'm saying? Will they be out for the regular stuff when they're not getting a key to the city and the council, the congressman and the state majority leader and the mayor's not there? You know what I'm saying? Will they be out with them? You know, and we try to cover a lot of that. And we have to uplift and those are unsung heroes. Like, you know, I applaud the work that they do for their community. They hold it down. And Styles said, and I'm gonna play this clip. Styles said one of the things, he doesn't want to just do this for Yonkers. He's starting in Yonkers, but he want to help the parks in Mount Vernon and then start helping the parks and you know, getting this kind of equipment and stuff and the parks in the Black communities throughout Westchester. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not just worried about his own, you know, could you take care of home first? You know what I'm saying?
And park hopping has now been one of my things because I am telling you that the parks in Mount Vernon, I have sat in front of the park and just looked at the park. And I've even taken my little protege, Isis, and told her to look at the park and tell me what you think about that park. Right? And so you have some parks where it creates an imagination. Like, I'm a captain of a ship and I'm a pilot, right? And then the other park is there just to be a park there, right? And so we have to change that mentality of when individuals are writing grants for parks. Like, what kind of park are you writing a grant for? I know that you don't want anybody to sit over you while you're writing a grant for a park, but what kind of park are you getting ready to erect there? And what will be the purpose of this park? Just to keep individuals busy, or is it to move their mind and create a mind move? So yeah.
I want to get into this other clip. This is Styles P when you know, they had the ceremony part and when they called him up and he spoke at the podium Friday.
I don't know if you checked it out, but if you've been to the Buena Vista Park or the Water Tower, you see different people, different sizes. You see brothers who don't know.
That didn't start from the beginning. Hold on.
Peace and blessings, everybody. I'm gonna try to keep this short. It's very short and sweet. Yonkers is a beautiful place. Poor people are beautiful people. Black people, Spanish people, poor white people. Yonkers, we are I was gonna say melting pot, but somebody said something better than me much earlier. Where are you, sir? Right here. Yonkers, we are a salad bowl. That's who we are. You can be who you are, and we just all blend in well together. It's gonna be good. But the main purpose why we're here today is a lot of us had good lives, some of us had rough lives, but the purpose of what we do is to make better lives for the children, those coming behind us. A lot of us are middle-aged, some of us are not. Some of us are stuck in old ways. It's an old world. Some of us still follow racism codes and all kind of things. Yonkers is a very different place. We deal with that too, but at the end of the day, if you look around, you see different colors, different faces, different shapes, different sizes. And the main thing we want to do is just build a better place, make Yonkers a better city, something better for the youth, make sure the kids nerd up, make sure you go to school if you want to go to school. You don't have to be a gang member, you don't have to get a felony, you could do something good with your life, you could get up and get on a hustle. And for all of us who are XGs and we, you know, even though still in a life, these parks represent growing together, getting better together. I don't know if you checked it out, but if you've been to the Buena Vista Park or the Water Tower, you see different people, different sizes. You see brothers who don't know each other, helping each other out, work out. That is a beautiful thing. But we're really here today is to keep building. The mayor's done his part. We're all trying to do our part, but together we could get a lot more accomplished together, one accord. It's not about anyone being the head of it. We're all messengers. The message is get our people healthy. Wayne, I love you, PCNY, you know this, boy. The message is get our people healthy, give back, and just be unified, man. And it's okay to want to be better yourself, wake up to be the best you can every single day, and that's what Yonkers is about. And we got 3 parks done, but we need Trevor Park done. We need Serrato Park done. We need the Glen done. Everybody you see here is with us, so we're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done. If you can't afford to get to a gym, don't worry about it. We got you in mind. And for people here of higher power, whoever's looking, we need professional foundations so we could get somewhere. Here's what we're looking to do. We're gonna get these parks done no matter what. We want you to be able to donate, play your part. So Candy from Rock Nation, we're gonna sit down. My brother Brian, we're gonna get it together. Shout out to the whole Rock Nation team for joining in on this mission with me. It means a lot to me. If you donate $1, $2, $3, $5, and we get these parks built, we're gonna make sure your name is on that wall. So you could come back, show your family members, show your kids, show yourself what we're doing for our place. We're gonna make it better, and this is gonna go from city to city to city all around Westchester, then all around. We just gotta keep pushing it. Love is love. You already know what it is.
You are now tuned into the People Before Politics radio show, brought to you by the good folks at
Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper.
Real talk for the community since 2014. Welcome back. I don't know if y'all heard that. Well, it sounded like it was breaking up on my computer. But anyway, that was the Styles P clip that I wanted to share. And my next guest is a young brother that I'm so proud of, Yonkers resident, Dennis Richmond Jr., always pushing the agenda for historical Black colleges and universities through all the high schools and stuff. He's running that initiative, and he's also an author now. Proud of him for that. But what he did recently, right after the verses, is he went around into the hood and got reactions from the Yonkers residents. And you know, like if you watch at MSNBC, they'll go to the Washington Post report and they tell you the story. Well, this is our little ghetto version. We're gonna have him tell you the story of his story of the reaction from Yonkers people. Dennis Richmond, what's up, my brother?
Mr. Woodson, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for allowing me to have this platform. I'm humbled to be here with Dr. Bob, and I'm humbled to be here with the illustrious Cynthia Turnquest-Jones. So thank you so much. I know that there was definitely energy around Yonkers during the verses. I mean, I made sure I was actually outside of the garden that evening with my niece and my nephew. We didn't go inside, but we were outside, and we saw so many celebrities going in, and people were just crowded outside, and just the energy alone was amazing. So then when we saw the verses on our phones and New York was involved and there were hundreds of thousands of people who were watching, it was amazing. So the day after, when everybody was talking about it, I knew that I had to pick up my camera, and I just had to go from neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood in Yonkers. And I just had to get people's reactions. I had to ask them how they felt. And it was amazing. It was beautiful. It was spectacular because people didn't mind talking. I had a lot of sisters and a lot of brothers say they didn't want to be on camera, but I had a lot of sisters and a lot of brothers who said that they wanted to. And I asked them, how did they feel about it? Who they thought won, and just basically to express themselves. And I was glad that I did, because there was an energy in Yonkers that I haven't felt in a very long time. And that energy was that not only are we here, but we do this. And we are New York. You know, often there's a run-on joke where people will say, I'm from Yonkers, and other people will say, oh, that's upstate. Oh, that's not a borough, or that doesn't count. You know, that's not the Bronx. And this, but we're on the map now. You know, you have people in Brooklyn and Harlem talking about we got to take a trip up there. We got to see what's going on in Yonkers now. And I love it because it's like, oh, now people want to come up here. Now people are looking at Yonkers like, yeah, of course that's New York. I mean, I know Yonkers. You know, there was people saying that now there's brothers in Harlem saying they were born in Yonkers and they just moved to Harlem now. So I love it. You know, everybody claiming the city. So it was an amazing feeling.
What I love though, also, you didn't take the easy way out and just go like to the square or just go like to, you was on No Down Hill, dude. You was in some areas where, people, if you ain't from there, you don't need to be there. Like you talk to the real people. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I watched the video, I was so impressed. Like these are the real cats that, dudes are sitting out, hanging out, doing whatever they doing in the park or whatever. And and my one dude even said, there's No Down Hill. Like if you ain't from here, you ain't got no business up here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's.
And I didn't know any of them. Right. I didn't know any of them. And that's what made it so beautiful. I didn't know any of them. I showed up to people's neighborhoods with the camera. And there were a lot of neighborhoods in Yonkers I went to. And a lot of brothers looked at me and they were like, yo, we don't want to be on camera, but basically we respect that. Like, the fact that you even came into the neighborhood with a camera and asked us, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or it'd be a group of 10, 12 brothers and they'd be like, no, we don't want to be on camera, but he would do something like that. So get him. Or sisters to say, well, we don't want to do it, but them over there, they will probably, you know what I mean? Like it was an amazing thing. It was love because they knew, okay, he's really trying to do this. What's your YouTube? Where are we going to see this? And Mr. Woodson, I didn't think that it would blow up the way that it has. I put that video up 3 days ago. And on YouTube now, I checked it. It has over 210,000 views. People are looking to see what people in Yonkers think of the versus battle. That's crazy to me. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't do this.
Right.
Crazy.
And that's why when I had the show, like we basically so Cynthia don't know. So earlier me and Bob was talking, we were gonna do, and I just heard we were supposed to interview Al B. Shore's son today, little B. Shore. But it there was a problem with the scheduling, and actually he just texted me twice. So he would have actually been late because he just texted me now talking about I'm late. But we're gonna have him on the 22nd. So it was like we had a free show. So me and Bob and Lorraine was at the thing, and we were already talking about the versus thing. So we said, well, we'll talk about that and find some other topics. Then Brother John Morrison from Brother to Brother had posted a dope post this morning. I reached out to him. He got some family stuff going on. He may or may not tune in, call in. But it was like, yo, let's do a whole show. So I reached out to a bunch of my people, and you did the thing. So you was like, yo, you was one of like 30 people I reached out. I was like, yo, I got to get him. So you responded. Cynthia, I got to just say, yo, Cynthia is on vacation in South America.
Right.
And I said, yo, I would ask you to be on, but you're not home. Like, she's like, where the link? Like, so I was like, okay, that's what's up. Like, so I got to give her a shout out. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Bob always holding me down. But yo, what you did was amazing. I like to highlight that, and I thank you for, your articles and contributions to Black Westchester, because we need more voices from your generation. We all in certain age now. We're not exactly the youth. We're young in mind and all that. We ain't old, but you know what I'm saying? But we're not the youth no more. So it's good that, for cats like, and that's what this forum is for, to create a whole new generation of truth tellers and activists and whatever else to empower y'all, because y'all the future of whatever this looks like. So, what you did, like this, and I purposely said that, like, for the people that watch like MSNBC, they're calling this so-and-so person who is the award-winning journalist from the Washington Post to talk about the story that they talk about. Now, yo, you doing your thing, and I want to highlight you on an equal level. You know what I'm saying? And for what we do, and let you tell that story. So,
Mr. Woodson, you don't know how much that means to me. Thank you. And I couldn't do the things that I do without brothers like Dr. Bob and brothers like you, and without sisters like, Cynthia Turnquest-Jones. Like, it's amazing because you all, like, so many people out there in Mount Vernon and Yonkers support me and make sure that I'm doing the right thing and give me words of wisdom and what have you. And I pass it on to those younger than me. So, you know, I like what you said when you're like, you know, we're not the youth, you know, no more. I'm 26. And even though to a lot of people I get my wisdom from, you know, I'm the youth, I see brothers and sisters out here 16, 17. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, yo, this is the youth right here. Like, these are the ones, you know, on TikTok and Snapchat who are really pushing and doing the thing, you know, with the whole, when we had the Black Lives Matter movement last year, you know, it was the young teenagers who were out there really pushing. I'm like, wow, they making the signs and running around and doing it. So, you know, it's amazing to me that I get the support and the love that I do, and I thank you. And I just want you all to know that it's just as much as I get it, I'm always passing it on to those younger than me. And that's what we have to do. And to bring it back home, that's what Yonkers felt like. And I said that to my mom. I was like, you know, it's that energy again. Like, it's not a, okay, you know, that's Slow Bomb, and, you know, and you know, that's the Strip over there, and this is Highland over there, and that's Woburn. No, it's like, no, this is all Yonkers, actually. We all together. This is what that is. And when we talked about the parks, yeah, it's one city, but it's also one county. So let's make it love. It's Yonkers, it's Mount Vernon, it's New Rochelle, it's White Plains. It's all together. So I just thank you, and I'm just humbled to be here.
No doubt. And you said what I was going to ask you. I was like, the only thing I asked, man, is that you pass that on. And that's how we continue doing this thing. You know, the problem is a lot of people in my generation let those before us die with a wealth of knowledge. And we didn't pick their brains enough. And now we had to start from scratch all over again when these dudes had these the ones that came before us had all this knowledge. And I don't want, me and Damon and Bob, we always talking about that, yo, we don't want to take this with us. We want to pass this on to all of y'all, you know, give y'all the forum so that we can empower you, so you can empower the next generation. You know what I'm saying? And whatever it is that you decide to do. So that's what this is all about. And I always try to highlight you as much as possible. And I give you your flowers now. You know what I'm saying? Like we always say, these are the things people say about you when you die. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, we need to get, I'm in this whole thing, get people their flowers while my mom always said, give me my flowers while I'm alive. So, you know, this is the giving flowers thing. You know what I'm saying? So we want to give you your props, yo.
Thank you. And you deserve yours too. You know, you deserve yours too. You definitely do. There's a lot of brothers, you know, who did the hip hop thing and then they went on and they're like, all right, I did that and I could kick back and live my life now. But you didn't do that. You chose to give back to the community. You chose to continue to push a platform, and you're using your platform to help the community. You know, so you need your flowers too, Mr. Woodson, because you don't stop. You keep going. You know, and even though you might not have 50 people out there with a truck saying, let's push out all these newspapers, you'll be the one to go from door to door to make sure the information gets out, you know, on your Nation of Islam type business. And you do it. And then information does get out and all the newspapers do get out. And I thank you for that, because you make sure that we have it. And, you know, look at what you did. You know, everybody knows Black Westchester now. Everybody knows that. The politicians know Black Westchester. The business leaders know Black Westchester. And thank you. Because again, you didn't sit back on your laurels and say, look, you didn't hear the album? Come on, I've been doing this. You said, no, I'm going to do what I do. So thank you.
No doubt. Appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate you. Sid, anything you want to say to Brother Dennis?
If you just continue with your torch and light other individuals around. What I like about Dennis is that he's interested in his lineage, right? You'll see him find something.
Ancestry, yes.
He'll find something about somebody in the past, and so that is encouraging. You know, when you post that you found a great grandmother or a great grandfather and someone who is a part of your line, of your family tree, it inspires others. You know, you're passing the torch that somebody out there could really not even know who their people are. And they say, you know what, let me look into who this individual is. So I really like that part. You know, I love the part about pushing for school. If I'm not mistaken, you're an educator now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
See that? I watch, brother. So, you know, you're educated now. So you are a part of what you say. And I really appreciate that, for you to just continue doing that and pass that torch along to individuals. You may think that people are not listening, but I am telling you that they're not only listening, but they are also watching. And you are also inspiring other individuals to look into who their people are, which is very, very important for all the listeners that's listening out there. And if you need to learn how to do some of those things, check out Dennis Richmond Jr. and he'll give you some tips. Thanks.
Thank you. And as we give flowers, thank you for all the work that you've been doing with the library too. Because as we talk about that, you know how essential the library is to our community. And that's one thing that you have not stopped with. You make sure that you push for that. And you always carry Mount Vernon on your back. And I love it. That's one thing I could love about out of all the cities in Westchester. Just like people from the Bronx, people from Mount Vernon love representing Mount Vernon. So that's one thing that I know for a fact. Mount Vernon people love to talk about how they're from Mount Vernon, no matter what happens. I'm from Mount Vernon. Yonkers, I'm born and raised in Mount Vernon. So thank you for always carrying Mount Vernon and taking care of Mount Vernon too, because the youth everywhere need help. And the youth of Mount Vernon definitely have a lot of resources, thanks to, everybody on this call making sure that they do. So that's a beautiful thing as well.
I want to give Bob a chance to say a couple of words, but before I do, since you said the library, I just want to announce, so now officially Black Westchester is archived in the Mount Vernon.
Beautiful.
The hard copy, and we're working on getting the digital copy. And then Kathy, shout to Kathy Webb, is going to work with me to get the digital file to the Westchester library system so that all the libraries of Westchester will have, the PDF, the digital version of all the copies of Black Westchester, so we can be archived in all the lives. So we're in the process of doing that now. I wanted to shout out Kathy Webb. Dr. Bob, as an educator and hip hop head, any words for the young brother right here, the young educator?
Well, firstly, it's a pleasure to meet you, Dennis. I haven't had the opportunity to meet you. I take it that your appearance with us on air today is your official induction into the Black Westchester family.
Well, he's had articles out. He's been doing articles on the website and the paper for a minute. Yeah.
Well, now once you get on air, that means you've really been you're now part of the select. So I hope that means that you'll have an even more active presence. And I want to say that even though AJ does Black Westchester on a full-time basis, some of the reading that I've been doing recently about the history of the Black press has underscored the fact that for most of its history, startup Black news outlets really have what was called sundown editors, people who worked full-time jobs during the day and went home and did their writing at night. And it seems like you and others who have been a part of Black Westchester are a continuation of that tradition. And I really applaud you, because so many people feel that their job is over once they punch out the clock at the end of the day and they just go home, and now that's leisure time. And very obviously through your writing as well as your reportage on the streets, you are trying to offer up an alternative model. So I really do applaud you. Since I've been part of these discussions about the importance of alternative media like Black Westchester, I can tell you that one of the recurring needs that has been highlighted is the need for actual reporters who get on the streets and have interview the everyday man, everyday woman. Mm-hmm. And you're one of the first persons that I've actually seen do that. Not just the celebs at the important social events, but the actual men and women whose opinions matter to us so much. And so kudos to you, props to you, and I hope I have an opportunity to work more with you.
Thank you. I really didn't realize how powerful what I was doing was, until days after. Like it was just like a thought to me, like, okay, let me ask, some of the brothers, some of the sisters, how they feel about this thing that happened. But yeah, putting it in perspective, that really is a thing. Like, I was talking to my mom about it, and I'm like, people are starting to subscribe to me on YouTube now. And I'm like, other people have podcasts and they have web shows, and I don't have any of that stuff. So I'm like, does it count that people are subscribing to me and it's not me? But then I thought, yeah, because if you think about movies and stuff like that, the producer doesn't get any less credit if they're not in the movie, because they're the one who made the movie. So they get credit too, even though they're not the actor or the actress in it. So I'm like, I'm the one putting the stuff together. I'm orchestrating the video. I'm chopping it up. I'm, putting it out there. So, you all are inspiring me to to actually keep this going, you know, about other events and stuff. Like, this is pretty dope. And you're right, to go into neighborhoods and what have you and ask people who usually wouldn't be asked certain questions, to say, look, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So thank you. You know, it's divine intervention. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm really glad, and I'm glad to have support.
Bringing it back, I just want your thoughts. I know you got what everybody else felt about Versus. Your thoughts, seeing, you know, cats from your town rep it on a level like that. Like, what was your thoughts like on that whole thing?
You can ask anybody in my family. I haven't stopped talking about it since I saw it. I mean, even without a camera, I've been going around still asking people, how you felt about the Versus? You seen the Versus? How you felt about the Versus? So I loved it. For me, it was powerful because what Jadakiss, what Sheik Luch, and what Styles P said was absolutely true. You know, when Kiss was saying, I'm outside, it's true. Like, you know what I mean? This is true. Like, you know, Mr. Woodson, we saw Styles together the other day. Like, this isn't just, okay, these are celebrities and they don't come back home. So I loved it because it was true hip hop. You know, we saw Harlem looking Harlem. You know, Harlem has always been known for dressing and getting fly and stuff. That's what we saw. We saw all the chains. We saw the name brands. You know, we saw Harlem come out looking like Harlem. But we also saw Yonkers get Yonkers. Styles P before the battle has said, this is the gritty versus the pretty.
I'm sorry, go ahead, and I want to bring another guest. I want to bring some of my hip hop heads, heads in. Yo, I want to welcome Hakim Green from Channel Live. What's up, my brother?
What up, eh?
What's good with you? I wanted to get some hip hop heads, some MCs to talk about what we saw on Tuesday from an MC perspective. And dude, you know I put you up there with the MCs that be putting in work lyrically. So
thank you. I appreciate it. It was dope. Phenomenal. Great. It was great. It was the best thing that happened in hip hop in a long time. It was awesome. Salute to both groups, the Locks, D Block, and Dipset. But the Locks came with that work. Show what the real hip hop is all about. Real lyrics, real performance, real MCs, breath control, articulation, not rhyming over your vocals, routines, technically sound, DJ incorporated into the whole nine, not just, you know, hot beats and swag. That's done. There's no more whack. We're not doing that no more. They got hits, but you know, swag before your lyrics, we're not doing that no more.
Yo, and one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on, like, I was on the label with him, but you ran with him. Yo, one of the dopest is in doing that, KRS-One. Like, that's the
dopest.
Yes. So you know, when your opinion of how that was, it means something, because you ran with a cat that has destroyed careers.
Nobody. So I just dropped a single with Chris called The Cypher, right? And in the joint, he says, y'all ain't taking nothing from me. Any goat that steps to KRS is the goat that gets curried. and I know a lot of you know, goats have heard it and don't nobody got nothing to say.
I know one of the last conversations, it's been a long time, with Chris, he was like, yo, every year he looks at the top 10 artists on Billboard and he creates a rhyme that will destroy their career.
Write a rhyme for him.
Yeah.
You got a rhyme for everybody. Oh, word? You got, okay, let's go. He already got it. Yeah.
And he been doing
you know what?
Go ahead.
You know what interesting about KRS? I watched KRS do a cipher, and after he finished doing the cipher, they interviewed everyone else who was in the cipher with him. So what they was doing, I think they was doing it for BT, right? And everyone said when we got to the third take, we realized that KRS-One was saying something different every single time. He said the rest of us were saying the same thing that we had practiced. You know, they just kept saying the same thing, but every time they was like, all right, take 21. KRS still said something different. They was like, oh man, why am I in this cipher with this dude right here?
Like it is the generation. It's not about a generation gap. It's about skills. I'm 52. It's about skills. The OG. Oh, okay, OG. Nah, dude. Spit your bars. Let's see what you saying. And 9 times out of 10, they're not really saying nothing. Nothing.
I seen a recent. First off, I like that joint. Took a test about you wanted to get down. Karos made you take a test to become an MC. If y'all haven't heard that joint, check out that joint. And then the live video where you and Chris are on stage, and Chris is just killing it, and he gives it to you, and you just destroy it to the point that Chris was like, all right, he had to come, so he could take over. You just nailed it, like you still out there spitting like that.
Yo, AJ, you mind if I take over?
Yo, no doubt.
Hey, you want to see the video to that song?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You mind, guys?
Everybody, we hip hop. This no doubt.
Took a test. I think I can share it. Nope, can't do it. That's that. Play.
What I gotta do? I gotta.
Let me hold on. I'm gonna email it to you. Hold on 1 second.
There's supposed to be a setting where I can, but I don't even know how to do that right now off the top of my head.
I'm gonna send it to your email, and then you can download it and then put it up, and you can play it when you need to.
All right, no doubt. Bob, any questions for Hakim? Dennis, any questions for Hakim?
I got one. I do. So first off, brother, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for everything that you did for the culture. Salute.
Thank you.
Hip hop. Fat Joe said something the other day, because you'll have a lot of brothers now who will say stuff like, man, when we did hip hop, when we started off, it was nice, and it was this and it was that. And now it's all basically, like criminalized and this, that, and the third. And Fat Joe's thing was, when we were doing hip hop back in the day, and when hip hop first started, even though people wouldn't necessarily, and I'm paraphrasing, but even though people wouldn't necessarily rap about certain things, it was still crime going on around, the artists. It was still people smoking and stuff like that. How do you feel about that? Like, even though the content of what was rapped about was different, was it still the same thing basically going on? Like, you still had your gangsters around and you still had your, you know what I mean? Or was it sort of flowery kind of like, no, it was like we were artists and it was always about the music? Did you still kind of
AJ, what's your email address?
Hakim, let me go first and then you go. Female perspective.
Let me just get the email address first.
Hold on.
Let me get the email address first.
Mr. MRAJ Woodson @gmail.com.
Mr.
AJ Woodson, WOODSON @gmail.com. Mr. AJ Woodson @gmail. Go ahead, Sam.
From a female perspective, we was some of the biggest gangsters ever, my man. Nothing to play with. These cats right now, they are like pussy cats meowing at a lion. You would the number of shootouts I've been in, the number of cars I've hit under, hip hop. Yeah, man. I mean, the parks that I pop lock in the Bronx, 138th Street, nothing but a whole block full of burnt out buildings. These individuals are living in gated communities. They're rapping behind the screen, etc. and so forth. Hip hop was very, very powerful, very powerful. And so, like for what happened the other night, and there not be an altercation,
right,
was one of my loves. Because you knew there were so many heavy hitters in that room the other night that if that was like in 1986.
I just told Bob that if this was 20 years ago, and I told Brother John that if this was 20 years ago, even 30 years ago, they would have not only on the stage, but the whole crowd, it would have been ugly. And then outside would have been ugly. Like, it would have been ugly.
I remember going up the steps. We was at the castle. and I'm going up the steps, and I think Doug Lazy and them was performing that night, and Dredd couldn't get in because he had the gun and everything up in the dreads. Oh, everybody had to back out. You knew where to park at. You know, let me park 10 blocks away from this spot right here, because when it go down, I need to make sure that my car is 10 blocks away. And like you said, Dennis, Mount Vernon was always in the house. Oh, it didn't matter where you went. Mount Vernon and Yonkers was always in the house. There was a party in Brooklyn, we was there. Manhattan, we was there. Queens, we was in the house. And we had cars, right? Because they tease us because we come from Westchester. Oh, y'all got cars and houses. Yeah, we were in the house and parked the car 10 blocks away because we knew when it was going down, it's going down.
I want to get the last words on the versus battle, because I got my next guest. We're gonna bring him on where Ray's on. He wrote a review of the new Nas album. I definitely want to show some love. Yo, if y'all haven't heard that, my joint right now that I've been playing over and over is Nobody, featuring Lauryn Hill. Like, oh my God, I listened to her verse like 5 times in a row. Like, that is the first thing that stopped me. Like, I was watching verses over and over, bits and pieces, until I started listening to Nas. And I've been listening to Nas for the last 24 hours, like that Nas. So my man Ray is gonna come in, and he gonna give us like a little. He's writing a review for Black Westchester. So I was like, yo, if he want to come on, you know what I'm saying, to say a couple of words about it. So Hakim, anything else? The battle, MCing, anything? The video, when you send me the video, when I post this on Black Westchester for the archive and I send it out, I'm gonna put the video under it so everybody, when they hear this, they can click right into it.
Let me. All right, so what I'm gonna do is because I haven't uploaded this video yet. It's like so exclusive. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you the YouTube link so I get that traffic.
No doubt.
The video really just for this show.
Yeah.
If not able to do it now.
Yeah.
I'll send you the YouTube link so you can then go from it. But
Right.
I wanted to comment about hip hop.
I
wanted to comment about hip hop and what hip hop is and what it ain't. Right? Street culture has always been. Hip hop didn't start street culture. Street culture doesn't start with hip hop. Street culture was always there. DJs were always there. Hip hop doesn't create the DJ. The DJs didn't start with the DJ. Hip hop. According to Grand Mixer DXT, hip-hop, which is a derogatory term, and B-boy, which is another derogatory term, was applied to the young kids who would dance to break beats. They would wait for the break part of the record, and then they would go in and do some type of acrobatic style of dance. So when they did that at the parties where the gangsters were, because the gangsters was already there. Hip hop didn't create gangsters, didn't start with all that was just the condition of our people at a particular time in their life. What they were doing is culture, right? These young kids in the 60s were b-boying and breakdancing. The 60s, according to Grand Mixer DXT. He's second generation b-boy. He started breaking in like 67, 68. Right. So now there's this new thing where people are breaking or dancing just to the break beat. That's the new thing. That's when we go, oh, that's hip hop. The break beat and people dancing to the break beat, and then the culture that comes out of that. That's hip hop. Everything else is already going on. Everything else we doing now, we've always been doing. Unfortunately, because in our condition here in America, we've been treated as slaves, second and third class citizens, and the underground economy, selling drugs, pimping, all that bullshit that we really shouldn't be proud of is not hip hop. Hip hop is the creative energy that new thing that we started doing, which was a bunch of young kids, nerds, artists, outcasts. The gangsters didn't get with them, really. I'm not a gangster. I'm not a gangster. I'm a nerd. I'm one of the corny artistic dudes in the corner writing poetry, doing graffiti, doing this breakdancing that the OGs, they wasn't doing that. Get that hip hop stuff out of here is what they said. And then that thing grew. The subculture becomes now the popular culture, but we forget how it originated. Doesn't originate with gangsters. No, it doesn't. It originates with the corny kids who couldn't come outside, so they stayed in the room and DJ. Or they was in their little rap crews doing something different than what was going on. So for me, hip hop is just the creative energy that's always been around that we call today hip hop, but it's just what Black and brown people do. Positive. When we do positive, creative, progressive stuff, that's hip hop. All that other stuff is what we got from slavery.
No doubt.
All that is just slavery.
No doubt. Salute to my man Hakim Green.
Thank
I called you on a moment's notice. You came through, and I know y'all keep hearing me. All these people that just see me do Black Westchester, they hear me talking about I used to rap, and I got all these rap friends. Well, I'm gonna start bringing them up now, like so y'all can see, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like I've been doing this for decades, and this is my man right here. Much respect for everything you do and still do, my brother. Much respect. Much respect.
Oh, check for 24 hours apiece in North New Jersey, September 3rd, September 4th. Peace, love, unity, safely having fun. 24 hours apiece.
All right, no doubt. I want to transition into my man Ray. My man Ray, he writes, he done Cynthia, when we was at the DMX thing outside, and I said I got my man writing, this is the brother who covered that and was doing a little interviews and stuff. My man Ray, he's wrote a review for the Nas album, and yo, like I said, that Nas album is a beast. Everybody needs to check this and support this. Without further ado, I'm gonna let my man talk about it, because y'all gonna hear me talk about it forever, but I'm gonna let my man talk about it from a different perspective. But go ahead, my man.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on, AJ. Yeah, first off, shout out to the Lock, shout out to Jada. They definitely put on for, Westchester 914. Yeah, that versus battle was crazy. And it's good to see them, finally getting like the recognition that they deserve and people giving Jada his flowers. But while we're praising the Locks, or praising Jada, I think it's time that Nas finally got his, flowers. He's been in this game for almost 30 years now. He's put out 13 studio albums. He has one of the greatest, hip hop albums of all time with Illmatic. And I think with this album, it kind of just solidified that, right? Up until, this past year, Nas never won a Grammy. And you know how it goes with the Grammys, they're super biased and what have you. And it's just great to see, man. Like when this album dropped and I went on, social media, Twitter, just people shouting out Nas and finally just, giving him his flowers, man. And that's the thing, like even Nas, he rapped about it in one of his songs on, I think it was the Corner Store. He's like, I'm rapping the same way I did when I was back on the block. And you know what? Nobody's been giving me my flowers, so I've been picking from my own garden. And that kind of like really resonated with me because it's true, like before COVID, I don't know if you remember, they put out like a whole like, top 50 rappers of all time list. And like I was seeing, from Ebro down on to Charlamagne the God, like people were putting Nas like 20, on that list, like 20, 25. And it's like, for me, being a writer, and you could probably, relate to this, AJ, from a writer's standpoint, the appreciation of just lyricism and like poetry, that's everything that Nas embodies. And, what he did with this album, man, it's crazy because he kind of did, a couple things, right? So like he first starts off the album putting on the younger generation, the new generation of hip hop. And I'm not talking about, these mumble rappers or what have you, because I don't really consider that hip hop. I think that's something else. But he's putting on, YG, he's putting on A Boogie, and he starts off the album, talking about, giving game to the, new emerging, rappers. And then he transitions to giving us a record, finally giving us a record with Eminem. And, people have been dying to see Nas and Eminem on the same record for a while now. I remember when on Ether, Nas headed to Jay and said to Hov, he was like, yo, like, M murdered you on your own, track. Yeah. So to see him and M finally collab on a track of their own, like that's huge. Lauryn Hill,
and
man,
to bring out EPMD for that track too. Like
exactly.
That was dope too.
Yeah, that was a hard track. And before we get into Lauryn Hill, like he also did something that, you know, I shot him out for, like that was huge and big time. He made a track called Death Row East.
Yes.
And as you know, back then you had the West Coast, East Coast beef, and you know, there's a bunch of like false narratives and stories that are just out there and that are pushed. And if you watch some of like Pac's interviews, he talks about it and how the media really blew up, you know, that whole beef. And you could find a YouTube video of like Pac dissing Nas or what have you. But what Nas talks about on that track is like him and Pac were actually going to link up in Vegas to squash the beef. And the whole idea of creating a Death Row East was to smash the West Coast, East Coast beef, right? With Death Row Records, they were creating a Death Row East. So to see Nas, you know, just talk about that and to, you know, like to shout out Pac, that's big time. And
I want to interrupt you real quick. So a little point of knowledge, because I was there. Yo, there was I don't know if it was MTV Awards. I don't know what it was. It was at Radio City Music Hall. So you had Pac, Death Row, Suge, and then you see from a distance, you see Nas and all the QB dudes coming, and everybody just knew it was about to go down. You know what I'm saying? It was about to go down. This is in the height of all of that. And Suge called Nas, and then he brought Nas and Pac to the middle of the street, told Nas to keep his QB cats back, and told the Death Row dudes to stay back. And they actually, before the Vegas thing, they actually had that conversation there. You know what I'm saying? Where they agreed to, you know, have further conversations. But it was like, yo, everybody just knew that night it was gonna go down. And that happened. And then, like you said, then they went to Vegas, and when he went to Vegas, you know, Pac was in the hospital. When he went to shoot the video, the one with off the movie Casino, you know, the Nas video, that's what he was shooting that video in Vegas. So yeah, but go ahead. I just had to throw that out because I was there that night. It was crazy.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm 29, right? So I guess, like, how is it for you? You know, you grew up on Nas. Like, for me, like a 29-year-old, like I'm going back trying to like learn like Illmatic. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to go back to that time period. You know, like for me, like I really started listening to Nas when It Was Written came out, and then Stillmatic. So how is it for you? You know what I mean?
So I want you, if you haven't heard it, I want you to pull up Main Source Live at the Barbecue. That was the introduction to Nas. That was the introduction to Akinelli. Yo, it was crazy. So that joint, like, listen to that. That's before Illmatic. That's before all of that. Go listen, pull that track.
I gotta check that out. Yeah, for sure.
Live from the Barbecue, Main Source. That's the joint that really put Nas out there. And then Nas came out with Illmatic after that. And it was just like, yo, who's this? You know, because he was younger than us.
Who was this? Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Who's this kid? He was just coming on a whole nother level. Like, he was just, you know.
Even Jay said, even Hov said, he was like, you know, when Illmatic dropped, he was like, that they were all done for. Like, Hov admits that.
There's eras in time, like when Rakim came out, he changed the game and the word cadence, and he changed. Nas coming out was another one of those elements in time where he just changed the game. You know, now what held Nas back a little bit, like for the cats, you know, hip hop was New York. For the cats that wasn't in New York, you had to almost be from New York to kind of understand some of Nas' rhymes. It was about the projects and the subways.
Exactly.
And, you know what I'm saying? His man in Rikers, and, you know, writing a letter to him. Like, some of those things, if you was outside of New York, you couldn't really all the way relate to. You like the lyrics, though. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what held him back a little bit from the, you know, the superstar thing. But yo, from the gate, Nas was a beast. Yo, peace to Nas. Yo.
Yeah, and he talks about that on this track. He's literally saying, like, I'm rapping the same way now that I used to rap back then on the block. You know, and that's what I really respect about Nas. Like, you talk about longevity, right? Like, that's how, like, when people put together these like all-time rapper lists, the number one thing I personally look for longevity. Are you consistently putting out, you know, good music over the years to the same level that you were when you first came into the game. And you can't say that a lot about every single rapper. Like for me personally, I look at Eminem. Eminem kind of fell off after Encore. See Kanye after My Beautiful Dark Fantasy. The thing about Nas is consistently putting out classics. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's consistently, from a longevity standpoint, putting out music that is like solid music. And it was great to see, you know, the Grammys finally recognize him for that last year. I think with this, I would be shocked if he doesn't get a Grammy for it. But I do want to just touch on real quick, you know, Lauryn Hill, because that feature, man,
Nobody.
like,
oh my God.
Nobody. Yes. That was fire. That was super fire. And for him and Lauryn Hill, for people who are watching the show that don't know, him and Lauryn Hill first linked up back in 1996 for, you know, super timeless classic called If I Ruled the World.
Yes.
And for me personally, that's my favorite rap song of all time. Like for me, that song is timeless. So the thing about Lauryn Hill, after she had her MTV Unplugged performance in like 2001, she kind of like, you know, took a break from music. And you see her here and there, either people using, you know, past music that she's put out, you know, sampling her voice and stuff like that, or she'll sing a hook on a track. What Nas did, though, however, he was able to get Lauryn Hill to rap on a track. And I was going back into the catalogs and I was looking at, you know, all the features that she's done. And she's done a few hooks since 2001, but I couldn't find her, you know, laying bars on a track, you know, since 2001. So that was huge. And, you know, Twitter exploded, you know, on Thursday night. She has like one super quotable line, like, my awareness is like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. I'm saving souls and y'all are complaining about my lateness.
Yes.
It was hard because I actually went to go see Lauryn Hill at the Apollo in 2018, and she was 3 hours late, but she put on a crazy performance, and like, you know, it's worth it. But people, you know, they get on Lauryn about like her lateness, but you know, there's a lot that she explained. There's a lot that goes into, you know, a performance and stuff like that. And there's also opening acts and things like that. So I think the whole lateness thing was blown out of proportion. At the end of the day, like, you know, she's one of the greats. And
she reminds you of that on this track.
And she reminds you of that. Yeah, exactly. And
I gotta say, so I
went to see. I was waiting for Lauryn Hill one night. I didn't even see her.
She didn't show up.
I gotta go to sleep. I mean, if it took her that long to get there, she probably just woke up right before I had to go. I mean, you dynamic and everything, but come on, for the love of God, man, I gotta go. I have a curfew on my eyeballs, but she's great. But I just want to add on something. I just want to let y'all know that right now, Groupon has tickets to see Nas at the MGM Grand on October 23rd in Connecticut. $75.
That's pretty good.
That's a steal right there. That's a steal for sure.
Try to tell the people right now. I see Dr. Bob looking for the tickets right now. Dr. Bob be pretending that he's looking at the screen.
Otherwise, I can't afford them. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Just want to know. And Nas is on my list for see poets are nothing to mess with.
Yeah.
Nas is a poet.
He's a poet, like Pop. Pop was a poet too. Yeah.
And being the son of a jazz musician, he rides the beat the way a jazz musician plays the horn. Like, he rides the beat and he drops knowledge. Like he's not just talking, like he could be talking about the most grimiest thing going on in Queensbridge projects, but still be dropping knowledge and still be talking about we come from Africa and be dropping jewels in there. Like, you might have to listen to it like 3-4 times to actually kick. You got to hit that rewind button to actually catch it the fifth or sixth time. But he's always dropped. Even in his little performance in Belly, he was talking about getting his life, getting his money, and taking his family back to Africa.
Right.
Like he would like that's like
you could use I use Nas in the classroom to analyze my all boys classes that I taught. I used Nas lyrics and they loved it.
And here's the thing, right?
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Ray.
Go ahead,
Ray.
No, here's the thing from my generation, right? The thing with my generation, a lot of people in their mid-20s, they look at Nas, look at J. Cole, like, oh, they're boring, right? Because he's speaking about, like, he's doing socially conscious music. He's speaking about what it is to grow up in the projects. He's talking about police brutality. He's talking about Queensbridge, and people just don't get like that music, right? So the lack of appreciation, you know, for Nas and, you know, J. Cole, Pac, you know, poetic lyricists in this new younger generation, it's rare, right? Because a lot of people are no longer listening to the lyrics and what they're saying in the music. They're just listening to the beat, right? And there's a huge disconnect there. And there's so much knowledge that Nas just puts into his music. You know, if people just like took a second to actually hear what he is saying, you know, I think that would be huge, you know, like, and it's just sad to see, you know, this, like my generation, the generation coming up now, like the lack of appreciation for like just straight lyricism.
So I want you to, real quick, Bob. So I want you to, I started doing this, and actually it was off a Nas track, the Nas Kanye Cop Shot the Kid. So I started saying, so the Source had like the 5 mics, you know, 5 mics being the dopest thing that you could get. You know what I'm saying? We Black Westchester, so it was going to be fists in the air. So how many fists in the air do you give this album? From 1 to 5?
I say 5, man. This album was a beautiful like masterpiece. And I say that because it's the way he set up, you know, the track list. He starts off, you know, putting on YG, putting on A Boogie, like, you know, he starts off in kind of braggadocious. And I'm happy that he did that, you know, because he has to let people know he's Nas, you know, and then he transitions into like, you know, dropping jewels and dropping knowledge and kind of, you know, like he says in like on the album, like he's trying to put this new generation on, you know, the same way that he was not, like he says that he didn't have, you know, someone to be able to put him on when he was coming up in the game. Like he didn't have like a Dame Dash, you know, figure that Hove had. So he's kind of trying to like, you know, build the next generation of rap. And I just think like, you know, Nobody, Pressure, Store Run, Brunch on Sundays, like, you know, those are classical, like smooth jazz beats. Like it makes me feel like, you know, like the good old days of hip hop, you know, like it gives me like Illmatic vibes. It gives me It Was Written vibes. Like this is the type of rap, like I feel like has been lost, you know, in the past few years, you know.
I want to say 2 things and then I'm going to go with Bob and then we're going to end. DMX also did the same thing in that last album. He put a lot of, it was important for him to put a lot of the next generation on that album. Yeah. And two, when you were saying like some people consider his style boring, it's like a technical fighter in the ring. You know what I'm saying? He's just tearing you apart. He's not flashy. He's not doing all that thing, but he's beating the hell out of you. But it's not the most interesting fight to watch. Like he's just taking you apart. Right, like he's just technically taking you apart. You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, oh, this is boring. But he's technically he's giving a clinic, you know what I'm saying, on boxing. Nas is like that lyrically. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's just giving you that clinic. You know, it might not all be the flash and all that. Dr. Bob.
I was going to say that all of these issues center around the question of what is the role of the artist in our culture and what is the artist's responsibility. And I think one way that the music has been transformed that we've all alluded to is the previous generation of hip hop MCs recognized that it was important to speak to the lived reality of people, but also their lyrics offered a transcendent vision beyond the present. And I think that's really what is missing today, that our artists are not really fulfilling the role of what comes beyond the often gritty, grimy existence that we're living in right now. And in that sense, and partly because of the over commercialization of the music, where people's primary concern, cardinal concern, seems to be getting money. Me and AJ had to talk about this, and for me, it was signaled in Nas's music, and he spoke to it in Black Girl Lost. And there's an opening exchange where there's a girl, and she says, I'm reading it from here, and she's like deriding the tradition of conscious music that Nas represented as a kind of street sage. And she says, people are talking all that back to Africa shit, all that God body shit. And really, that's a difference, that earlier generation of MCs was never far removed from a kind of oppositional culture that called us to greatness. And I think, and greatness not only defined in terms of how much money we personally make, but how we can use our skills and our artistry to transform the communities in which we live, so that we don't have to flee them. So that
I want to say two things about that. One, when you look back at the Grandmaster Flash, the Melly Mel's, and all of those, they lived in the grittiest parts of town, but they made party records to escape the reality of the hood that they lived in. Now you got people that live in suburbs trying to live out their gangster fantasies, and they don't know what they're talking about. That's like funny, because that's not what it was about. And you're so right. But the other thing I think you missed, Bob, while we had the Public Enemies, the KRSs, the socially conscious, the 5%ers, we had a variety. We still had our gangster rap, our Coogee rap, and all of those, our Schoolie D's, all of those. We had our fun stuff, the Biz and all of that other stuff. We had our fun stuff. You could do the kick step with Kid and Play. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was so many things that we had a variety of. Now it's like we're all hard, or we're all trying to get the bag, or we're all trying to do, like, there's no variety no more. So we always had some of that, the raps about music, money and all that stuff. We always had that. We always had the raps about the girls getting the girl. We always had that. But we had Public Enemy. We had, you know what I'm saying? We had people that had knowledge of self. We had such a variety that, you know what I'm saying? You was feeding yourself a variety, not all day gangster, or get the bag, or everybody look like a stripper in the videos, or like that. That's all. You know what I'm saying? We had a variety. So even when we had that, we had the positive and the conscious to, like, give us a full plate.
And just real quick, AJ, like on that point, I just remembered Nas actually J. Cole made a song called Let Nas Down, because J. Cole and Nas actually had a conversation after J. Cole first put out like the song that made him blow up called Workout. J. Cole, like, that was like the studio song that made him blow up big time. But J. Cole actually before that was putting out mixtapes and kind of mimicking, the way Nas would rap. So then Nas and J. Cole had a conversation, and Nas told Cole exactly that. And he was like, you didn't need to make Workout. You didn't need to put out that song to be great. You know what I mean? Because there's already an appreciation for that type of, hip hop, for that type of lyricism. And then J. Cole made a song called Let Nas Down, where he talks about everything that you just mentioned right there. So,
and let me tell you real quick, Nas was so important. I don't know if a lot of people remember, Amy Winehouse had a song about her love affair with hip hop called Me and Mr. Jones, and used Nas as a metaphor for hip hop. Like, Nas was her whole metaphor for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So her love affair with hip hop was like, me and Mr. Jones got a thing going. Like, she had a whole song about that, using Nas as a big metaphor for hip hop as a whole, like everything she loved about hip hop. So I was like, when you got that, you got people making analogies like that, with you being hip hop, that's kind of crazy. Somebody was saying something, and then we're gonna get closing statements.
Yeah, like right before we close, it'd be real dope if we had it, and I know it would take real, and Brother Ray, thank you for your input too. That's love. Thank you. It'd be real dope if we had it. A 2021 or 2022 self-destruction. Could you imagine, like, if we had Hove, Nas, and like some of the youngins, like 21 Savage and all of that, like come in and like 20 rappers strong do a self-destruction, just the energy of that. Like the locks, I'm just saying, it's just me and my hip hop rap head, just to think what would happen if we had something like that in this era now. You know what I mean? And
that would be hot. It would be the third one because they had a second one.
Right.
It had Redman and Method Man and Busta and all of them in it. Like they had a second one. So it would be like the third one. We need that. Like the West Coast had, we all in the same gang. They had Self-Destruction and a couple other joints. We need that unity. And I have to just say, going back to the locks and the verses, I appreciated that they showed the love, that they're going together to do this tour the way. And I was as a journalist, I was on tour with them for the Cash Money Rough Rider tour, which they said could never happen. You know what I'm saying? The venues were scared to book it. Insurance wouldn't cover it because they was like, yo, the Cash Money dudes and the Rough Rider dudes, they just gonna fight. Like it's gonna be all out war. Like they're gonna tear up the hotels and everything. Yo, it was one of the most successful tours at the time. And I think, this Versus sets off the element for them to go around and do this little 30-city tour, starting I guess next month or whatever. To bring that energy. So other people in other states can lace up their Timberlands and get their hip hop on. And I think it's a good thing. And I think when COVID has changed the world in a lot of formats, Cynthia will tell you, Bob will tell you, we was doing this in a studio. Like Cynthia was mentioning sound effects and stuff. I ain't got no buttons to push over here. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's not the same thing. COVID has made things change. So artists have had to do like more live. Actually, Versus started because of COVID. You know what I'm saying? When you put two artists together and they celebrated their music. But this was the first live one. And this was the first, this set Versus on a whole nother course now. Like this is a whole nother, they're gonna do this once a month, I think, this whole live thing. And they're like this set, but it says go back to that performance. Like I seen Rakim has done one, like the online concert thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna have to do the live performances. Right now, we don't know if we're gonna have a second shutdown. Like, we're never going back to the way it was before COVID. Like, there's never going all the way back there. So we need to just there's a new normal now. So we need to just throw that out there. And it's those who adapt. And it's modern technology and live performances versus may be the future of what we see with live performance music. You know what I'm saying? Where like how you rent a movie for whatever with Netflix or whatever, or you pay like now they got the movies coming to your house and you can pay $29.99 to see Black Widow before and if you don't want to go to the theater, which if you buy 2 tickets and some popcorn, you're gonna spend at least that anyway. You know what I'm saying? Paying a little bit, $4.99, $5.99 to see a performance or something like that, $10.99, whatever. That may be the future. What we're looking at.
Yeah, and I'll pay anything to see a Hov versus Nas versus, man.
As long as I'm waiting for it.
I want to also say, you got to give Nas. I love it when. So you got Nas and Jay got beef. They shut down the whole world for like a week with that whole.
Yeah.
Like the world stopped. Like
and Hov is still holding on to that. The world
stopped, and then Jay signed Nas. He doing his little album, but Nas is still being Nas. Nas still taking shots at Jay on the label that he signed him on. Like that don't stop nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like he's actually taking shots at Jay on a couple of joints. Like
But have you seen Jay-Z? He's dropping music whenever Nas drops something. Like literally dropped that album with Beyonce. There's a rivalry. There's a rivalry because there are a group of people who feel Nas bodied Jay. There are a group of people that feel that Jay, but there's a group of people that feel Jay won. Jay is an ultimate Michael Jordan type of competitor. So as long as there's anybody who believes that Nas won, he's always going to be in competition with Nas and always try to do something to one up Nas because like there's people out there that think he got bodied by Nas and his ego is not going to let him to accept that for so much. Like he's going to always compete and be like, so if Nas is dropping something, you expect some J joint to come out soon. Yeah, you're right about that. But it's just funny, real quick, like with Hov, like, and you go back to Nas poetry and making socially conscious rap, like it was Hov before 444. He was the one saying that socially conscious hip hop does not sell, and like that's the type of music that won't be able to go onto the radio and get as much play. And then you see him now make 444, and he even talks about it was the influence of Nas that gave him the courage to put out an album like that. And you saw how 444 blew up big time. That's one of Hov's best albums.
I love that album, and I appreciate an artist's ability to grow.
Right.
If you were still doing the same thing you were doing 10 years and 20 years ago, like this positive artist out of Atlanta, he made this record, and it was like hip hop, his love of hip hop, and it was just like, you know, when he was young and hip hop was throw your hands in the air, and his father was like, you can't listen to that. And then he went to college and it redefined whatever hip hop was. That was his thoughts. And then he got, you know, a kid, he got married, he got a house. And he was like, yo, man, I'm going to need you to grow up. Like, he's talking to hip hop. Like, I'm going to need you to grow up with me. Like, yo, that still throw your guns in the air thing ain't working right now. Like, you know, we got lives and stuff. I'm going to need you to grow up. So I respect an artist's ability to grow. And I think that's important for longevity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
But last words, everybody, Ray, last words on the album, Styles, anything that you want to say? And when is your article coming, your review coming out on Black Westchester?
Yeah, I can send you that tonight.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, for sure. And just like last thoughts on the album, like I said, like it's just from a longevity standpoint, it's just great to see Nas still like killing it, because a lot of my favorite rappers, you know, they reach a certain point where they start to fall off, you know. Even with J. Cole, you know, the last two albums, I feel like hasn't been up to, you know, his potential, and you kind of start seeing that fall off. I hope that's not going to happen with Kendrick. So to see, you know, Nas be able to still at 47 still put out classics, like that's huge for hip hop. And I just think the album was beautiful and it was much needed. And I hope Lauryn Hill, you know, forgets about, like, doesn't focus on her age and, you know, makes a few more appearances, because
let me tell you,
phenomenal.
That Lauryn Hill joint was the type of thing to let you know, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. And for all you female out there who thought I fall off, yeah, I still do this. And that was like, I think that was a message to that was a message to the industry. Like, yo, dude, I still do this. I expect that we're gonna hear more from her. My man Dennis, any last words? The battle, Yonkers, what you doing next? Whatever.
I just want to say thank you. You know, I appreciate the conversation, and it's definitely necessary that we had this conversation. And I think that anybody getting into the game, you know, especially coming in from New York, needs to have conversations like this as they get into it. You know, they need to know their hip hop history and their rap history. I think a lot of young artists coming in don't know enough about the genre and about the culture where they can appreciate it that much, and where they can understand it from a point where they know where their role is in it. So thank you for conversations like this. We need to continue to have these conversations. I know you've been doing it forever, but, you know, it's up to me, it's up to Ray that, you know, we bring it to our communities and to our circles and continue to push to have these conscious conversations. And Ray, I won't hold it against you that you know, seem to be more of a Nas fan than a Hov fan. I promise.
Nah, I love Hov. Don't get it twisted. It's just,
love.
Nah, I got mad love for Hov. His music, like, was what really got me to start loving hip hop. Like, I remember when the Black album dropped. That to this day is one of my favorite albums of all time.
That's all love. It's all for the culture. It's love.
Cynthia, Turnquest-Jones. Me and Dr. Bob was talking, and it was like the last couple of shows. You know, I said Joe, and I really wanted to show in this article, this issue, that's out now. You know, a lot of people see us do a lot of political stuff, but we were so much more than that. You know, when Cynthia we was dealing with a lot more topics and issues. I remember one of the things that Cynthia said, that somebody said to her, yo, there's supposed to be people before politics, man. All I'm seeing is politics. Where's the people? So we're trying to get a little bit more back to the people. And that was why it was important for you to be here, you know, because you was here from the beginning when we were dealing with these kind of conversations that had nothing to do with politics. I mean, politics does affect everything that we do, but we have to talk about all these other issues. And Bob's, you know, set the stage for that show last week, which was very important. So Cynthia, any last words? Anything you got going on? Anything you want to plug?
I just want to say, you know, thank you for having me on today. Shout out to all the listeners. Shout out to all everyone that's on here today. What I decided to do is I started writing books, and I started writing books for children. And I remember AJ and I driving home one day, and I said, let me read you a couple of pages. And then he looked at me and he was like, bars. So 2 of my books.
Wait.
Let
Let me stop. Let me stop you. Let me stop you. She was driving. She gave me the book and said, "Read it now." She made me read it out loud. She was, and I was like, but it was worth the read though. But she was like, she made me read that right then and there though. So I just wanted to tell the real part of what happened in that story. Go ahead.
So what's interesting is when I'm reading the books out loud to the children, and they're like, "This is poetry," right? But I don't see it as poetry. I see it as, I see it as rap. I see it as like me being the MC and everything. So out of that and that love for that, I've made sure that I continue doing that with the writing skills, and just like I say all the time, make sure that your child is reading for at least 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes is not enough. You should be, especially during the summer when they're not in school, they should be at least reading 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening. And if they need some books to buy, Cynthia Turnquest-Jones wrote 3. And so now I'm working on the 4th one right now. Have a great one.
And as always, my man with the plan, my man that holds me down. I can't say it enough, yo. I met this brother a while back when we were doing, working on Richard Thomas' campaign, actually. That's how we met. And it's just like, actually the best thing Richard Thomas ever did for Mount Vernon was me and Bob met in that campaign. Like, that's the best thing that came out of that whole campaign. I ain't gonna lie, yo. But this has been my brother, and he's held me down ever since. And he rocks out with me, and I support everything he does. I know you got a couple of things coming up soon. I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that at the end of the show.
So yeah, I'm trying to share my screen. I don't know if it's possible.
I got you.
Mention was made both of the centrality of the library and the cipher in Black communities across the United States. And I thought that was a nice segue to share the announcement that Black Westchester, the Mount Vernon Library, and a startup nonprofit think tank are going to be sponsoring a new Meet the Author series entitled The Cipher. And the first presentation is going to take place on Thursday, August 26th at 6 p.m. in the fiction room. It's going to feature Jeffrey B. Perry, who's the author of the definitive biography of the 2-volume definitive biography of a intellectual organizer who's Hubert H. Harrison, who's known as the father of Black radicalism, the Black Socrates of Harlem. Next week, he's going to be on the show to give us a preview and to discuss some of the important contributions that Harrison made to early Black intellectual and political life here in the United States during the beginning of the 20th century. So I want to invite everyone to join us next week to watch it, but also to come out on the 26th. I think it's going to be a dynamic presentation and hopefully re-inject some of the intellectual emphasis that it comes down to us from the traditional hip hop that we were talking about, especially as we discussed Nas and others. And by the way, Cynthia, I know that this gives me a time to say this on air. You and I have had this discussion about partnering with other community-based organizations, including the Mount Vernon School District, and you will be receiving the proposal because it is complete.
Everybody still there?
There you go. I'm here.
Okay. I want to thank. Oh wait, what happened to Bob?
Thank you, AJ.
I think I hit the wrong button and I actually kicked Bob off. I was putting the screen off. My bad. I'm doing 10 things at the same time. I was kicking the full screen off, and I think I ended his talk too. That's what happened. Well, we coming to the show. It is that time. Oh, he's back. We're coming to the end of the show. Last words. I think that was my fault, not yours.
No, that's it. I mean, and let me say, extend my gratitude to the guests who appeared with us, maybe for the first time in some instances, and certainly to Cynthia Turnquest-Jones, who's been a mainstay in Black Westchester people before politics before me. That's all, brother. Everyone have a good.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is episode 311. We are celebrating our 7-year anniversary this month. It is the 7-year anniversary of BlackWestchester.com, the Black Westchester magazine, the online publication. It is the 7-year anniversary of this show, People Before Politics, and it is the 4-year anniversary of the newspaper. So we're putting out a double anniversary issue. One is coming out Tuesday, and the second one was coming out August 20th. So yes, anybody still interested, and when they see this later, you can still advertise up until the 13th. So please look out for those. Look out for the digital copy. When I put this on the website later today, I'm gonna put Hakim's video that he was trying to send me under it, so y'all can check that out as well. I definitely want to do that again. You know, whether you call it flossing or whatever, I always talk about my history in hip hop. I got a lot of hip hop friends, and I know people like, yeah. So from time to time, I'm trying to bring them up and get them to come through. So that was the first of many of my hip hop friends that's going to come through and join the show. With that, Stephanie Swan, everybody else who tuned in, Jonathan Campazano, I'm not sure if I pronounced your name right because I messed it up. Marvin Church tuned in for a minute. I can't see all the names. I lost that screen. But everybody who tuned in, that'll be on blackwestchester.com. Please share this. It's an important conversation on hip hop. Share it with your friends. Share it on your Facebook page, whatever. Again, we're now broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn as of last week. You could be doing anything right now, but you decided to ride with us, and I greatly appreciate it. This has been Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 311. We are on every Sunday from 6 to 8. I almost said on In the Mix. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thank you all for tuning in. With that, till next week, we out.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
Yo, you can hear you. I'm just not in front of the screen.
Yeah.
How'd you think? What did you think?
Went well. It went well.
He's the only one I was able to, like, I hit him just before the show, Hakim. Like, I literally texted him just before I started the show. Like, I had to start.
Right, yo, I was back here. I had my sound turned off, and I went on YouTube. I mean, I looked him up. So I didn't recognize his name. And then I got his backstory and saw that he starred with KRS-One on some shit, Madism. So I went back and played it while, you know what I mean, while with my mic on mute, just to try to catch up and, you know, get refreshed.
Right.
Memory a little bit.
Yeah, he definitely. Yeah, I figured Madism is a weed song.
Well, you know what? I might have just forgot it. That's all.
Yeah. But yeah, So I just wanted to start. I wanted to start incorporating my little hip hop friends more and more. You know.
Right.
And give them a platform. Talk about what they're doing and stuff too.
Right.
But
Synergistic. Mm-hmm.
but talk about hip hop though. And talk about battling and you ran with one of the cats who was the best to do it. You know what I'm saying? So
right, definitely.
You that makes you an expert on the conversation. Like that makes you, when you say somebody did this and did that in such a way, you ran with the cat who did that. So that's why I was like him. I had a couple of other people. Jamal, I guess, couldn't make it, but I had a couple of other surprises. Woodson hit me and told me he wasn't going to be able to make it at the last minute. I was going to have Dave Mays from The Source, the owner of The Source.
Okay.
Yeah, he was one. A DJ from back in the days, Wildman Steve from BAU, but he said he didn't watch Versus. So he said he hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, oh, she didn't see that. Can you hang around a few minutes after the air? I would be good.
That's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I didn't see that. I didn't see it either.
I can hit up.
I saw that there was a private message. I just wanted to do something different, And Ray is writing now. He did a couple of. He's done. Ray came from Lorraine. Lorraine had him do one of her Latino empowerment pieces. Mm-hmm. That's how I know him.
That's the guy. I think you were alluding to him before,
right? And he also when we did the DMX, the visual outside these White Plains. Right. It was good because I was with Cynthia, so she was taking pictures. He was running around actually doing the video and interview and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And getting quotes from people. Like I could just chill. Like I wasn't working as much and got to enjoy it and do some live, going live and having fun with that day. I wasn't doing everything that day, and it was a very good feeling.
Right. Well, and I was being entirely sincere when I said to him that.
You're talking about Dennis. I'm talking about the last guy who came on.
No, okay, right.
What you said was about Dennis.
Got you.
Dennis has also wrote a couple of articles, and he's a young man that looks at me and Damon as mentors. He calls me Unc all the time. Now he's like right. Mr. Woodson. I was like, where the hell all that shit come from? But
yo, he was like, yo, son, chill.
But I mean, I let it rock out.
But yeah.
It was good what he said, though.
Admiration and respect.
It was good what he said from his perspective, from his age. Like, Mr. Woodson, you inspire all of us to do what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted it to be known for him and others like him. Like, this is what we're doing this for, to pass the baton to y'all. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, we get more of that. And that's why, having him, and he'll be back. Because you know what I'm saying? He did, his thing was kind of rough around the edges, but it was kind of dope. Like, he went to No Dine Hill. He was like, and he cut the video in such a way where you heard everybody, but then he said, where are we at? And they was like, No Dine Hill, Slow Bomb. Like, they was naming the hood part that they was from. Like, that let that's where we are right now. You know what I'm saying? And he put it together kind of dope. So, with the editing and everything, and I think we need more of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Black Westchester need more of that, but our generation needs more of that. Like, Atif had his way of doing things, and maybe sometimes some of his ideas are good, but some of his ideas are over the top. But Dennis, doing that in the street thing, like, that was a big thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you got 200,000 people like checking the YouTube joint. That's huge.
Right. It is huge. I hope he shared today's show on his through his social media.
Well, what I'm going to do is, if he didn't, because it was on a lot of different pages, I'm going to put it on Black Westchester tonight, and then I'm going to send it to him. I'm going to send it to Hakim. I'm going to send it to Ray. They all going to put it on their pages, so everybody goes to the website. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
And draw attention to the website. Hopefully.
Because for the first time tonight, I shared it to my page because I noticed there was a share icon in the lower right-hand corner.
Right. It's there all the time.
It's the first time I noticed it. I never.
Because I told you before, I know I told you before, because I said Lorraine shared it to her page for the first time. whatever that time was. And like there was like 40 people watching from her page.
Right.
38 of them probably never watched Black Westchester before. I mean, people before politics before. They were watching for her. She shared it on her page, so her people were watching. So if you share it to your page, your people that not following me, but are your people will watch. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I be saying, when Damon shares it to his page, there are other people who tune in that might not tune in every week, that tune in absolutely that day because Damon posted it.
Right.
On his page. And then he's on. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I thought it was important because it wasn't just about, I mean, I still talked as much as I talked, but Cynthia, build on some stuff. And, we had Shanae talk about, we started the conversation off, and plug her a little bit because, she need to run again in that next election, and it was good for her to be seen. That's her district, so we had this councilwoman, we had the young man, Dennis, we had Ray, who's another young man, like they young to us, 20 something. What did he say he was? He said he was
26.
They both in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think Ray is 29. I think he said or something like that. Okay. Like, so they both young cats to us. So passing the torch on to them, like building them up as much as possible, even to the point where they got their own platforms, and they remember, I really got started. What got me into this was Black Westchester. That's what keeps the name alive. Like, you know what I'm saying? And people go, oh, let me go back and see Black Westchester when we're not the hot thing or, whatever no more. You know what I'm saying? You like,
right.
You longevity is putting other people on. Like I always use the example. So Jeff Dixon managed his cousins Puba and he managed Brand Nubians. And that was the hottest job at the time. You know what I'm saying? But his younger brother was doing all this hot stuff. Ended up going to Atlanta, ended up being the music director of their Hot 97, which they changed the name to something else, V103, I guess now. And then Ludacris was a radio personality, Chris Lover, and he said, hang with me. And he helped Ludacris set up the whole Disturbing the Peace thing. He got him the deal. Now he oversees all that things that Ludacris does. And what he did is he brought his big brother back with him, Jeff. Like Jeff, Puba, and Brand Nubian's not doing that.
Oh, shit.
What?
Alan Ayers died.
The senior Alan Ayers, the Mr. Ayers?
Baba Ayers, his brother Jeff would say.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have to do something on him.
He was 79.
We have to do something on him. He's 2 years older than my pops.
Okay.
My pops turned 77 this year. Yeah, so I want to do more stuff like this, and then we do the Albie show, we do your thing, then we do the Albie show thing, on the 22nd. He was hitting me, so he was running late. He hit me at 7 o'clock, thinking, I guess he didn't talk to his mom yet, thinking he was supposed to still be on tonight. Talking about, can we push it back to next week?
Right.
I didn't even answer him because I'm just like, I'll hit him later. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be like, Ann, tell your son what the plan is. Like, because he thought he was still on tonight.
Right.
But that's what it is with artists. So, Ann will make sure he's on time on that day. Mama to Ann, she will make sure she'll make her look bad. She'll make sure he's on time.
Got you.
And if Al don't come in on a certain amount of time, she will be calling him on the phone. Al, when you come, here's the link again. We need you to come in. Get on your job. Like, she gonna get him. I told you he playing Cab Calloway, right?
Yes, you did mention that to me. Mm-hmm.
I hope that ends up being a Netflix joint. And if it does, and he does a good job, that could put him back out there. Maybe not as an artist, but
right.
Like I'll be sure is not. I mean, that's my man and all, but I'll be sure it's not exactly something we're all talking about now. When's the last time we had a really thorough, like, I'll be sure for anything that he's doing now conversation? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. I mean, it would be phenomenal boost to his career and also reintroduce the current generation to the contributions, of Cab Calloway, because a lot of us, don't know a lot about it. I mean, I hardly know his whole story. I've seen him featured, and you know, various documentaries and stuff. So I know he was one of them dudes, but still, I don't have a full appreciation of, you know, who he was as an artist, etc. So that would be great.
Yeah, so I did the two. My computer was acting up earlier today, so I did the phone. I was on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I did the show from my phone, but I had it running on the computer. You know what I'm saying? The one thing about StreamYard, once you're on, my Wi-Fi cut off.
Mm-hmm.
The show, like I lost the screen and everything.
Okay.
But I was able on my phone. The stream. Once you're live on StreamYard, you stay live. Like, you know, even if you lose the connection, you're on their thing. You stay live. So
right. Mm-hmm.
But I could see on my phone that I had one phone I was doing the interview on. I was talking into one phone, and I had the other phone up like this so I could see the comments and stuff, you know. And I saw it was still running, so I was like, okay, cool. Because when I played that,
mm-hmm.
You were now tuned into Black Westchester. Did it break up or did it play continuous? Did it play good?
No, it played good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, on my computer, it showed like it was breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, it went. I was wondering why you did it. I mean, I thought maybe, okay, he's just doing this strictly for promotional purposes. And then when it went off, I saw you had whatever the young brother's name is.
Dennis, yeah.
Dennis.
Well, I wanted to transition from, I showed that clip. It was longer than I thought it was, the Style Speed clip.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good. Now I know how to do that now.
Yo, hold on. I got to show you this. I bought some T-shirts finally today.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to show them to you.
All right. Yeah, all I have to do now is load the straight out the library. Oh, that's funny.
That's
One Love, that's dope,
yeah.
too. Knowledge Power, that's dope too. Yeah.
You know, I like to.
Well, that's what knowledge itself. Yo, if you notice, I wear a lot of shirts like that. Like a lot of my shirts say stuff like that. Like,
right.
You know, have Malcolm on it or Martin on it, or it has like some saying or something about police brutality or something, or Black lives. You know, like, you know, I noticed that when.
Oh, here's a favorite one right here.
Oh, Bookworm, that's dope.
Yeah, I like it. I got some kicks that match that too. You see me with the kicks on.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my man said thanks for the pictures too. And he said, oh, I remember my brother. He was there at the show. He remembered you. Yeah.
Who said that?
Remember, I took pictures. Remember the shirt you had on? I took pictures.
Okay, right. Okay, got you. Copy.
Yeah, I sent it to him.
Okay, that's what's up.
He was like, tell my brother I said thank you. I remember my brother. He was at the show. That's what he said.
Okay. Well, maybe that means I should share the pictures. Share one, post one, maybe to my page.
Yeah. I mean, it just, you know, promotion, and it was an event at the library. I mean, you know,
right.
That's another reason to promote. You know, just to have a picture. Of you.
Right.
Yeah, but yo, so,
mm-hmm.
I didn't get. I mean, this is all after I talked to you. I just started hitting a bunch of people. What are you trying to show me? Oh.
No, I'm not. No.
Oh, okay. No, I just saw it come up on your thing. Okay.
No.
So I just wanted to do something. I just wanted to start doing some different stuff, and you know, I wanted to, you know, get back into what we used to do. And now I put it on the website. We'll blast it out on the website. You know, and I'll do that. You know, Locks destroyed Dipset, received Key to City, and Nas album review. You know what I'm saying? And I'll put that up, and I can share that all over. So my hip hop heads who don't follow the show, you know what I'm saying? I can share this with all of them. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Well, listen, man, you want me to say what? I think it's a great idea for you to bring on some of your friends, you know, who are recognized hip hop artists.
Right.
And it's what's the brother's name? Rob.
Oh, you know what I forgot, and I meant to do it because I couldn't think of it at the time. Wake up in the morning with the yearning for herb. That's the first line of his song that everybody.
Oh,
remembers.
okay.
That's his line. That's the line that, you know how there's one line you remember in every song.
Right.
That's his line. You wake up in the morning with the yearning for herb. Something with the nouns and verbs, and you know, yeah, that's him.
Okay. Yeah, so I was gonna say though, I mean, do consider just doing some shows where you,
Peace and blessings, everybody.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, go ahead.
you know,
Let
where
me
you
pause
give
it.
them, you know, exclusive focus almost.
Right. Well, I'm gonna start. You know, like, because I was trying to get Benzino when we were talking about police brutality before.
Mm-hmm.
Benzino lost 2 group members early on that got killed by police.
Okay.
Before he was Benzino, he was Ray Dog and Almighty RSO. I wanted to talk to that. I wanted to talk to that. The Benzino. I don't want to talk to the Benzino now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And let me see if this comes up. Okay. Let me see if I can share this. Hold on.
It's been 15 years.
Just give me a chance.
We both know that this isn't working.
I can fix this.
It just doesn't feel right anymore. And I know that you feel it too.
I could never replace you.
Mom, Dad,
I don't
you
see
should
it.
just call Sealed.
What are you looking for?
Sealed keeps you
The
comfortable
video that I'm
year-round
playing, I'm
with
trying to play his
insulation
video.
and modern heating and cooling equipment with no upfront costs, no hassles, and no risks.
Okay, maybe I gotta do
gets
it this
paid
way.
if
Hold on.
Your house saves energy. They'll manage the contractor and the whole
All right,
process.
then I gotta go to it.
Join hundreds of happy homeowners.
Can you see this?
Say goodbye to
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
No KRS Once Hakim won't get down with PBP. You gotta take this test. You know what I mean?
That's his new joint.
I was ready.
Yeah, recently knew, yeah.
Something nothing by uttering the word. Niggas don't get it. I must be stuttering from the herb. Y'all be cluttering in the burbs. Hovering with nerves. I'm trying to build shelter from the oncoming birds. Donald Trump is driven. I'm trying to stay the surge. Do it for the bricks. With First and Laughing Market merge. Get my brothers out the county. See the city reemerge. I'm trying to keep it straight. My people living on the curb. Motherfucker got the nerve. Must not have heard. I'm tired of the pimps pushing fees in the burbs. Fire with the bars and the fours and the verbs. I wanna see them go to college, not make them wars on the curb. I'm so disturbed, so stay high as a bird. Niggas want this smoke, hit me up, you'll get served. I'm sick with technique, I'm ill with the maneuver. DJs want my effect like they were straight out the sewer. Fuck, I'm a doer. Find me in the viewer. I'm so underground, you're just the Barbie in the sewer. I'm a grown man in this young world, I feel like I'm Rick the Ruler. I'm trying to get all these bars, but I'm not Robert Mueller. Rhymes I say, sharp as a nail. Witty as can be and not for sale. Always funky fresh, could never be stale. Took a test to become an MC, it didn't fail. Rhymes I say, sharp as a nail. Witty as can
That's
be
from Run
and not
DMC.
for sale.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's that joint. But yeah, the joint.
I thought this is a test or is actually a line from a verse.
It's from Run DMC. DMC says that. Sharp as something. Always funky fresh, could never be stale. Took a something.
Right, took a test to become an MC.
It didn't fail. That whole thing is a DMC verse and a Run DMC.
Right.
But this is his.
Okay. Yeah. I know you're digging this type of shit right here. We about to spark it on the mic. Yeah. Come on. We do is spark magnets. 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 The episode starts when I walk down the block, it reach in my pocket. Yo, it's my knock, it follows me into the spot, compelling. Go check the dread, and yes, he's herb selling. Up and out the gate, I'm a potential felon.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Like I ain't even tell. Channel 1, 2, I'm smashing. I forgot to end the broadcast.
Channel 3,